Right now, go live. Hopefully this works. And we're not having any problems. So I'll just wait until chat jumps in, and welcome to a Tech Yes City live stream with host Greg Salazar, aka Greg Salazar. How you doing, man?
Greg Salazar, how's it going, my man Brian from Down Under? I appreciate you having me on the stream, man.
Yeah, so we've been meaning to catch up for a while, and then Greg was on Twitter. We're just having some back and forth, good banter. I'm like, do you want to come on live stream? He's like, yeah, all right, let's make this happen, because I was going to do the final Tech Yes City live stream of the month, and yeah, let's get it on. So the first thing is Marco really wanted me to talk about this Intel Gamer Days ad in Taiwan. So this is what.
Is this the Marco I know?
Yeah, Marco. So we'll run this for the audience. I'll make sure it's unmuted so you can get the full experience.
So weird.
Basically, like, I think if you're like this guy, you can get 4 hot chicks all because you've got an Intel CPU. That's what I took out from this ad, right?
They're pulling it from that's the car commercial thing, right? The cars help get the ladies, so now it's bleeding down to the CPUs.
Okay. Oh man, so we've got some other news though. Of course, we're gonna get onto the used mining GPUs. Have you bought any GPUs recently, or what's?
I have. I bought a 1070 for the win. That was a pretty gross card. It looked a lot cleaner in the photos, which I'm sure it was intentional. I bought an RX 570. Those are insanely good values now at under $100. You can find them well under $100 in some cases, because that's what they were pre-COVID craziness and stuff. So, like, they've gotten really cheap again. It's nice to see.
Yeah, well, I was gonna caution, like, there's gonna be some graphics cards that I'm kind of going to skip out this round, like used RX 580s and 480s and stuff. I'm gonna tell people to be very cautious about those cards. Reason being is because they're probably gonna go through 2 rounds of crypto mining, and I know from experience, like, if we pull up, say for instance on AliExpress, you've got. Actually, it's funny because there's new RX 580s now on AliExpress coming out for $150.
I don't see how those are new. I just don't, like, how is a card that old not ever been used?
Well, they're still, like, pumping the cards out. Like, there's this company.
They're still making them? Oh, well, I guess for mining, yeah, they are.
Well, there's some brands that are still making it. There's this Millsy brand here on AliExpress, so $150, and they do state in the description it's not new. It's not used. It's new. Like, they're saying, look, ours is new. And they're giving you a 2-year warranty on it. So that's pretty fair for $150 internationally shipped on a RX 588 gig. That's not too bad. But then you got to go, like, you look at these other ads and they're showing a decent photo. And it's like RX 580, original XFX. But then it's like, it's used. This is a used graphics card. And you got to be very careful about buying used RX 580s and 480s. This is where it really matters to, like, get the seller to verify that the clock speeds can actually go a little bit up, especially on the memory clocks, because that's where those cards would have been hammered.
Yeah, memory. Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing coming out of this current, like, mining sort of. Sorry, you have to excuse my voice when it croaks sometimes. I recently had COVID for the second bout, and it was so much easier this time too. Like, I the saddest thing about it was, there was a benefit to getting it this time. Like, my taste buds, everything tasted so good this time. Like, everything just tasted better. I was like,
didn't
whoa.
People's taste, like, disappear when they got COVID the first time?
Yeah.
It never happened to me. I got it, and I never really had that. Thank God. I couldn't imagine eating steak without tasting it.
Oh, yeah. Imagine not tasting cheese.
Yeah.
Like...
The texture, all you got is the texture. That'd be a mental game for sure.
Yeah. So, like, the first time I got it, I wasn't, like, I was scared of that too. I was like, man, I don't want to lose my taste. But then this time around, my taste got better. I was like, whoa, like, I just want to eat. So it's like, and ginger, one of the best things was like ginger, because you go to the sushi restaurants here and the ginger, it just tastes so good. So I was just like smashing down the ginger, but then my stomach was like, oh God, don't consume too much of that. Yeah, so the RX, okay, so the RX 580, 480s, be very careful when buying these cards, and you can get them under $100. They're going to be super cheap. You were liking the GTX 1070. That was one of your favorite picks, yeah?
Oh, I love that. That card is still one of my favorites. I mean, it's a solid 1080p contender for sure. It's still a fairly efficient process, despite being almost 4 generations old by this point. And I think the sweet spot for those is going to be around $100 to $140, which they're getting awfully close to. Pre 2021, they were around $200, and that was kind of where they settled after Ampere launched. But they're pretty compelling at approaching $100, and so I had to snag one up. They're awesome cards still. You know?
So the sad thing about them is that I'm sure miners would have put them through the burner as well, especially this time around. Like, everyone was just mining on anything. Like, I met these people, man, like locally on the Gold Coast or in Brisbane, and they were just running around. Like, you should have seen the desperation on their faces. It was like there was basically no more food left, and everyone was sort of like, running over it. These guys were doing that with GPUs. Like, that's how I knew this was going to end sooner or later, right? This was just a pumped up craze created by good old Jay Powell at the Fed Reserve. Like, he's the source of it all, right? This is what people, I've been trying, like, everyone's catching on. Take It City, everyone's catching on. They're loving it. Actually, we were talking about this before the stream. The finance videos are popping off at Tech Yes City. I might as well just rebrand to a finance channel at this stage.
Hey, man, you know what I've heard too is that the finance topics on YouTube, and I can't confirm this, but I have seen evidence that suggests this from others that do it. The finance topics and the tags that you use, especially when you're talking about credit and things like that, the CPM or RPM for ads on those videos is a lot higher, because the financial institutions that invest on YouTube pay a higher premium because there's more competition there, apparently. And so I know a lot of folks, if you make, I don't know, on 100,000 view video, you might make like $500 or something. But like, if it's a credit or finance video, you might make double that or triple that, which, I mean, it's, it adds up and it does help over time. So that could be something you might notice too if you keep that up. You never know.
So you reckon just cancel Tech Yes City and just change it Finance Yes City?
Finance Yes City, there you go, man.
All right, guys.
Rolls off the tongue.
You've heard it here on the live stream. Tech Yes City just got cancelled. I just cancelled myself.
Hey, better you cancel yourself than someone else cancel you, right? Just jump the gun while you can.
Actually, we also got a $5 donor from Jasper. He's asking, I am ready to take huge losses, aka gambling hobby. I'm holding 30,000 in GPUs and profits are down. So he's holding 30K worth of GPUs. Do you think I should continue mining after the merge? I don't think you should be mining at all.
I've never mined. I've never mined with anything. I've had friends say, "Why don't you mine? You got all those cards in your closet." I just never cared. If I ever traded crypto, it would just be dipping in and out financially. I wouldn't do it like actually mine the stuff. But I've never even traded crypto.
Dude, 2017, I got into it hardcore, man.
And I remember you told me that.
It was like, if you were, if you stuck to crypto and you were just a pure crypto channel, the second time around, you would have made a killing. Like, it was that was the biggest boom. That was a boom within a boom, right? Everything was booming. But crypto was like a boom on top of a boom. Like, you couldn't inflate a bigger bubble if you tried. But that's the thing, as long as you took the profits. And I was telling people last year, I was like, man, if you got some of this stuff, just sell it. Like, just take the profits. I was telling my friends who had the Ethereum when it went to like 4K. I was like, I think, did it go up to 5K or something? But I was like, 4K, this is insane. Like, you're getting like nearly 10 times your money back, right? In other words, you need 10 times the amount of people then to spend $1 to keep that 10x price up, as opposed to previously you had one person spending $1. So that's when the bubbles start to reach their peak, right? And then the air starts coming out. So it's all, I guess, in the land when there's no productivity and service associated with it. Which some people would argue Ethereum does have this crazy service associated with it. I honestly, this is the thing. I tried the service because I was like, should I get back into crypto behind the scenes? You know, everyone was talking about it. It was this big boom. I was like, you know what? I'll try it. And I tried like doing something on the Ethereum network. This was like at the start of 2021. And I was like, wow, this network's garbage. It took like 20 minutes to process a transaction. And I'm thinking,
yeah, that sounds about right.
how is this 4 years or 5 years in the making? Like,
exactly.
It's like, that's like going to Amazon back in 2000 and they've already been out for how many years, hitting F5 on your keyboard and taking the page 5 minutes to refresh, right? You'd be like, I'm not investing in this crap. This is garbage. So anyway, he thinks, sorry, we'll get back to his question. Poor guy. Do you think I should continue mining after the merge? So this is going to be the hardest thing is to a lot of people, this is going to be advice actually going forward. Sorry, Jasper. So donates another $5. So when will QE restart? I think we need that as miners. Yeah, so the miners would be desperately begging J Powell to start the printers up again. And so this is actually a topic that we'll talk about right now. I was actually going to talk about this later in the stream, right? Quantitative tightening is going to get worse now. Mm-hmm. They've actually, it's like in the next few days, they're running off $95 billion a month in their balance sheet, which is a lot more than 2008. In 2008, the Federal Reserve running off $50 billion off their balance sheet. And look what happened after 8 months of that. The whole markets broke down with the interbank lending rates going up to nearly 10%. That was basically something, they're going to keep doing this until something breaks. So
what are the overnight rates now? 3%, I think.
Yeah, I think it's 2.5. So the overnight rate, the Fed fund rates have gone up though. That's the official
and last
baseline.
Year it was 0, right? I think 2021 the overnight lending rate was like 0.1%, something very.
It was insanely cheap, man. Money was artificially cheap, and so everything naturally because of that went up in price. It was just insane what they were doing with the markets, and that's why people in hindsight are criticizing them and saying you guys went over, you stepped over the boundaries, right? In Australia as well, the RBA, the Reserve Bank of Australia, they're getting criticized heavily because they're like, nah, we're not raising interest rates until 2022. It's like, no, sorry, 2024. It's like, well, you do realize people are buying homes and mortgaging up their lives based on this information. You guys are literally the guys who have all the control and power. He who controls the money controls the world. And the central banks, people are starting to realize now the central banks have all the power. These are the guys with the most power. And so it's actually really sad to see, okay, well, people are, so Jasper, I would say you've got to be willing to accept losses now because the losses could be getting worse in the future. So that's one thing I learned from 2008, right? I was sitting on a portfolio of 50K stocks. This is where I had saved up my whole life. I'd lost $30,000 in 2008. It was hard to stomach as a kid, saving up all his life savings and busting his ass off left, right, and center. Man, I was working jobs in high school. I was working jobs behind the scenes with my old man. I was just working. Saved up money, went to Japan, saved up more money for a year. And then I was investing in stocks because that's all I learned from university. I was like, okay, I'm going to invest in small cap, going to ride this out. And then, yeah, bang, GFC comes along and my whole portfolio just got shattered, dude. It got wrecked. And I was sitting at 20K from 50K and I was like, okay, this small cap theory doesn't work properly, or it works until it doesn't. And I had to make the tough decision. I had to say, okay, do I sell it now or do I hold on to it hoping it goes back up? And one of the companies went bankrupt. So I was like, nah, this is a trend that's coming through. Now, had I not sold that 20K, got that 20K, I would have lost another 15K. That whole portfolio went down to 5K and a few of those companies went bankrupt. So you've got to ask yourself, if you're losing money and you're mining crypto now, how much more can you afford to lose? Are you happy losing the lot? Because no one knows if the printers are going to roll back up again. That's not a definite thing, right? People are saying it's going to happen next year, 2023, but in the meantime, things are going to get worse because the quantitative tightening is getting worse. They're destroying more money now. They're going to be destroying $95 billion starting from September. That means money's going to get more tight from September. If you thought money was already tight, money's going to get more tight and the market's going to get worse. So crypto's going to crash even more. This is just how it is. This is my predictions anyways. Don't take this as financial advice, but I'm just telling you what I'd be doing personally if I was facing crypto losses right now, I'd say, okay, maybe it's time to cut my losses while the market's still healthy, things are still good, and cut my GPUs if I've lost money on GPUs too. Cut those losses, because sometimes you've got to stomach. It's hard to stomach, man, but you cut those losses, and trust me, if you see it dropping down even more, you're going to be glad you did that. You're going to actually have a sigh of relief deep down, which is what I had in 2008. And I learned from that. And the one thing I learned from 2008 was not to buy, sorry, excuse the French, not to buy shit. That's all it is. Buy assets, buy things that you believe in, buy things that you can use in your life. Can you use 50 GPUs? No, you can't use it for you, right? You can use one to game on. So just go buy one. So this is just how it is, right? Now, real estate, of course, real estate's overpriced because everyone can use real estate. Real estate's actually a really solid investment, right? When you think about how over time people are staying home more than they've ever stayed home more as well, right? Your home is not just your home anymore. It's like your place of leisure as well. It's nearly... So homes have gotten overpriced naturally because of the trends in society have shifted towards real estate. So real estate isn't a bad buy, even if it is a little bit overpriced. If you can utilize that for yourself, then look at the benefits you're getting out of that. So yeah, again, invest in things that you believe in, you truly believe in, and that's how you'll do better going forward. So me, I don't believe in crypto. I don't invest in crypto because it's absolute. I think a lot of it is just total trash. Total trash.
Oh yeah, most of it objectively is it's backed by nothing. Anything, I mean, well, you can say that about our dollar too. I guess.
The fiat
currency. Yeah. But when there's, and I think that was a huge. I think that was a huge mistake. Was moving away from the gold standard because you no longer have anything to measure the dollar against except for other dollars, other currencies around the world. And a lot of currencies are that way. A lot of currencies aren't really backed by anything. Yes, we have gold in reserve, but it doesn't move with the amount of money being printed. And of course now, with how much money was printed in the last year alone, totaling to, I think, more than was ever printed in the history of this country at least, that's not going to have serious ramifications. It's never happened before, so nobody can accurately project what will occur in the future, but we know it's not good. And then on top of that, the Fed just telegraphing every single move they make months ahead to try to like preemptively prep the markets for this crazy interest rate, fiasco that they're dealing with right now. I just don't. And then you said, what was it? You said the Aussie banks aren't wanting to raise interest until 2024.
Well, no, they were talking about that. Now they're copping a huge amount of flack because they're raising interest rates aggressively. Like
they have to. Yeah, they have to.
And now they're kind of like they're scratching their heads, going, "Oh, we didn't foresee this coming." But then anyone with half a brain knows when you make money artificially cheap, of course people are going to go out and buy it. When people are locked at home and can't do anything, can't travel, can't spend their money on leisure and travel, they're going to spend it on other things like renovating their homes and going out and thinking about mortgaging and buying up another home. So Australian real estate just went absolutely ballistic, dude. I've never seen anything like it. Maybe even my parents, man, who were like, my dad's a builder. He's like, I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime, ever. Like the last boom in 2006, 7, and 8, this thing trumped that. Right? That made it look like child's play. That's how bad people were just so caught up in, I've got to get a house now or I'm never going to be able to get one. Now there's heaps of homes for sale and the prices are actually coming down. What's it like in your area in Florida? Was it the same thing? Like people just would just, instead of it was like the GPU thing, right? You were just pulling the guy out in front of you. This is what the miners were telling me. They're pulling the guys, like shirt grabbing them, pulling them over. I want to get that GPU. Was that the same with the house?
It was. I would see on TikTok just the lines outside a single house during an open house session, like on a Saturday. I just couldn't imagine being a buyer. Like, I mean, how
was there a shirt pull? Was there shirt pulling?
It's pretty close. I mean, at least behind the scenes with the bidding wars that were going on for homes that were clearly not worth anywhere near what people wanted to pay. I mean, I suppose you could say it's worth what someone's willing to pay for it, but compared to 2 years ago, nothing about that house physically changed, right? And now people are willing to pay a lot more for it because there's a tight supply with respect to how much demand there is. And there were lines that would wrap around entire neighborhoods to see a single home. And I mean, I remember the wife and I even entertained this home here We bought it for 275, and it's a big home. It's like a 5 bedroom, 3 bath, 3,000 square feet ish. But it's a cookie cutter home. That's why it was cheap, because it's not like a custom home or anything like that. We could have sold it for almost twice what we paid for it.
Wow.
2 years later.
That's
And we
insane.
thought about, I mean, we really did think about it. We're like, in the next 5 to 10 years, we're probably never going to see this value again. We're just, for it to spike up as quick as it did, it almost always has to come back down, right?
Yep.
And so we entertained the idea of it, decided, nah, it's best just to hold on to it. We don't want to be stuck without a house, because you might make money on the sale, but then you're going to pay way more to get another home anyway. So it's kind of a break even unless you've got somewhere already to stay. Room crash with the parents for a few months.
Yeah, see, you could do that. You say, like, Mom, I'm just, freshen up the basement, get the vinegar spray out, get the vinegar out. Look, we're coming back home for a year. You know what I mean? Until this whole thing blows over.
This is the U.S. I mean, like, I just see the chat that someone said Canada is a nightmare. I mean, think about, like, I know British Columbia, that where Linus and all them are. Like, it's a lot worse up there than it is here in Florida. And Florida's already it's a hot market, but there are places that are way hotter than this. And they just don't have the supply, and it's got to be near impossible to move to a city like that on a strict budget. I just don't see how it's possible.
I just got one question for you. Do you think, like, in those areas, right? You think in the most heated areas, you think shirt sales would be up? Because, like, a lot of people's shirts would be getting ripped.
You've got like the kiosks like standing out around the lines, like, hey, get your shirt here, new shirt here.
Actually, that's the next real estate boom we see. I'm actually going to have a shirt stalls outside. Like, guys, get your shirts in case you just want a shirt. Pull the guy in front of you and you break his shirt. Here's a new shirt. You can get freshened up. Oh, man. So we got a donation from Daniz. Good morning from Bali, Indonesia. Thank you. So he donated. It's converted to like 100,000 something. And
we should retire.
Indonesian rupiah at $7. Thank you for the $7. Thank you for the $7 donation. And then we also got another question from Alonso Rubio. He said, hey, B, I'm looking for a new car. I have a PT Cruiser with an SRT4 motor. Looking at the GT Twin T Stinger, is it worth it? Also, Greg, world is a pear. So world's pear. The world's a pear shape right now.
A pear shape.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of the Stinger, man, you're asking a guy who drove a Stinger if it's worth it. Yeah, the Stinger is like the best car, man, ever. Greg will probably disagree, but the Kia Stinger was just...
No, they're killer values. I mean, look, dude, you're a value guy. That car is one of the best values out there, and it's going to get shit because it's a Kia, but it's a well-built machine. I had a Hyundai Veloster Turbo. Hyundai's kind of like a sister company, and that car was awesome. I had that for a good while in college. It was actually a lease, but I was happy with it. Built the same as pretty much any other Japanese car I could have gotten into at the time, and it's solid, reliable, good warranty. So.
Oh man, Kia Stinger. I'm having withdrawal symptoms just being in Japan because there's no way you could drive a Kia Stinger or a big sort of sedan here.
It's way too big.
Well, the roads are too small, parking's too small. Like it's not a practical car in Japan, but man, it looks so good. I'm just looking at this one on images, and it's like, damn,
that one's murdered out, man.
Oh man, that's like a what black would you say? Which type of black is that? Like a matte black?
It's like a charcoal looking color.
Looks so good, man. Yeah, sorry, just had a quick interlude. Thanks for the donation there. Yeah, just had a Stinger moment there, man. It's so good. So, but back to the sort of come September. So this is September, right? We're ticking over to September very soon. Fed's going to be cutting $95 billion a month from its holdings. We've got it right here. Split between $60 billion of treasuries and $35 billion of mortgage-backed securities. That's the big one right there. They're going to be selling all the trash back to the market. And
who's going to buy it?
Who's going to buy it? Exactly, guys. That is...
No one's gonna buy it.
So, if you got a lot to lose, Jas, that's good. Yeah, definitely have some cash stuck aside, okay? So
yeah, cash is going to be king. It wasn't 08, and if it wasn't 08, it'll definitely be king now. Now, the inflation argument, I don't know, what do you think about the inflation argument, though? With how much money's being printed, it's easier to get a hold of cash because everyone's got it, right?
Well, the thing is, inflation's one of those things where we're starting to realize that there's a lot more to do with inflation than just money itself, right? If you're artificially choking and stopping people going to work through regulations and unemployment benefits and all this, you're dropping products and services. When you drop the production of things, and there's the same amount of demand, especially for food and power and all this stuff that people need, prices are going to go up. That's just in itself. Doesn't matter what vacuum you put that in, whether there's less money or more money going around, prices of those goods are going to go up. So that's what we've seen. And I was looking at this thing in the US where all these plants were just blowing up. Like all these food processing plants were just blowing up one after the other. And have you seen that, or is that something you've seen in the
Which
US?
one? What were they doing? Sorry,
There's just these food processing plants. Like I saw this news article thing that came up. It was like food processing plant, one after the other, and people were just pointing out how many of these food processing plants were just like accidentally blowing up. I'm like,
oh, geez. Well, there was a baby formula, or I think it was baby formula issue. One of the big manufacturers of it, I think it was up in Michigan or Indiana, one of those states up there. The plant was contaminated with something, I'm pretty sure, and there was an actual shortage of baby formula. It was a particular baby formula that like a lot of sensitive stomachs needed. So like moms that were feeding their infants formulas, they literally didn't have anything, like nowhere to go. You know, they had to give their kids the normal stuff and just hope that they could handle it or whatever. Like I couldn't imagine. I mean, you too, as a dad, like, what do you do if you can't, if you're in that situation and you can't even get a hold of food for your kid? Like, what the hell,
Yeah, man. I mean, welcome to 2022. Everything's meant to be great.
Yeah, exactly.
So, oh no. So yeah, so that's like you guys are donating heaps in this live chat. So Jasper, he's just like, look, a GPU's closer to assets or a scam, like the recent helium miner scam with no useful application. So he says, I think 80% chance we will lose everything with crypto. So GPUs are closer to an asset, of course, like they're a physical thing. And the thing with GPUs is they're based on Nvidia and AMD's forward-coming innovations, right? So if they're innovating a lot, those GPUs are going to get more and more worthless. But if they're not innovating, which we saw, this is how Tech Yes City came to be, really. The whole used market propped my channel up. And that's where I grew my channel from. And if there is no innovation in the space, then those used parts will hold their value. It's that simple, because people are going to want GPUs. They're going to have to replace their one that breaks down, or they're going to want to play games. It's going to be someone who wants a gaming PC. So yeah, they're going to need a graphics card. Supply and demand thing there. But if Nvidia and AMD are making these new graphics cards and they're like 100% better in a generation or 50% better in a generation, and they got the same price tag or a little bit higher price, well, I'd say it's more skewed with the little higher price with inflation, but that card's going to get worth less. And so like Greg's saying, with the GTX 1070, it's going down to $100 now. You can get them close to $100. That's a pretty good buy. That's a GTX 1070. That card used to be $300.
It's
so
$400. Yeah, it was a $400 card.
So there it is. Like, so we got Bob.
I look at them like cars. I would look at them like cars. Like, cars depreciate. They just do. Very few are exceptions to the rule. But you buy a new car, it's going to lose value. So the new car is going to come out, the new model, and your car is going to be worth less because everyone's going to want the new shiny car, right? So the older it gets, the more you use it, it's going to inherently lose value. So is it an asset? I mean, I guess. I mean, if you look at it that way, everything's an asset, but it's a depreciating asset. Over time, it will lose value no matter what. So you should be storing wealth in them for sure. And if you're a miner who has 20,000 of them, there was a time to get out, and that time has already kind of come and gone. So if you're looking to recoup on that side of the investment, I mean, then there's the argument of like, well, if it ever does come back, what if it comes back too late, and then these cards that I'm sitting on are suddenly irrelevant for whatever mining comes next, Yeah. Like, that's the other gamble. So I don't know.
There is one small section where it could go up in value, and that is, if, say, for instance, if all the factories stop making GPUs and everything else is smooth sailing, people are still getting all the food they need, all the electricity and whatnot, and monitors are still being made, LG's been unscathed, and then it's just the GPUs. So then you're sitting on an appreciating asset because it's becoming scarce. So there's a lot more to it, but I think that's a very unlikely scenario. But in general, you can expect that the supply of GPUs will be tied to a lot of other things as well. And I'd argue that the supply of GPUs has been actually one of the few things that got actually unscathed from this whole COVID pandemic. Dude, GPU shipments were like record highs through the whole pandemic. There was no real supply issues. It was just crypto miners were just buying up so many of those GPUs. That's all it was. And it was the whole news mastered in this, supply shortage is hitting GPUs as well. It's like, no, crypto miners are hitting GPUs. So we got Bob LeCool as well. He says, shout out to my 2 favorite YouTube people. So that's Greg and Tech. Yes, thank you so much, man.
Yo, appreciate it.
And he says he loves the financial discussion and the cost of PC gaming. So keep it up. Thank you guys so much. And then another $5, guys. Donations. Let's keep until we're sort of done talking about GPUs. Do you guys prefer selling individual parts or full PC builds? Or may hodl my depreciating assets. Okay, so I prefer selling whole PCs. I always have, because you can extract value out of that, right? Selling individual parts, I don't do it much, because whenever I put together a whole PC build, I'm saving $50 on this part, $100 on that part, and then the end product, even though it might be a break-even price compared to what other sellers are selling it for, I'm still making $200 because I've hustled all these other deals, and so I'm able to sell 5 or 6 deals in one package, and then that's one transaction instead of selling individual parts, which is a single transaction. I got to meet the person. It's a waste of time versus selling a whole gaming PC. So that's why I sell the gaming PCs and do what I do. So yeah, that's a big thing for me. What about you, Greg? Do you sell parts individually? Do you sell gaming PCs? Or you don't do that much, do you?
No, I don't now. I usually just surprise give them away or something. I've given a lot of stuff away recently. But when I first started out, I was flipping them, and I was making 50. I think the most I ever made on a flip was maybe like $150. And that was more of like a custom. I think it was like mini ITX. So it was more of a niche product. But the conventional mid-tower builds, I was always flipping for about $100 profit. And the way I look at it is time. It's a lot more effort to sell individual components. You got to put, if you think about all the stuff that goes into a rig, there's like usually 5-6 primary components. You got to make 6 different ads. You got to meet 6 different people, 6 different places. Screw that. I'd rather just sell it all at once. And like you said, there is a value associated with having it all assembled and guaranteeing that it works. And so you get even more value out of that, and you save time at the same time. So it's a win-win to sell a whole system if you can manage it.
Oh man, I want to tell the viewers. And there's one other thing you do, guys. You put your eBay affiliate link on the PC. When you sell it, you just say, hey guys, I pre-installed the browser for you. It's just got my eBay on there. You just be transparent too. You just say, hey, if you buy something off eBay, I get a kickback.
So, do you use what is it called? Smart Share? Is that what you use? The Smart Share from eBay? Is that what it is?
I've got to start revealing some of the things I do in time, right? Because I'm not going to be doing YouTube forever. I'm not going to be doing hustling forever, right? So I want the next gen. One thing I'm annoyed about is the next tech hasn't come along, right? I'm looking for this young guy to come into tech and just tear up the used scene. Like, he's making jokes, he's cracking, like, even if no one's laughing at the jokes, I don't see that guy coming into YouTube. I'm like, hey man, so like, I can't keep doing this forever, I was thinking about going to, financial YouTube and sort of, being the older guru sort of wisdom guy. But, so I guess I'm going to have to give out all my secrets as we go along, with time. So
I've been in the boat where, like, and I've talked with, Josh and our brand manager. I talk with him every now and then about, what our next play is, like, what's our next long-term goal? Because, I mean, at this point, YouTube is YouTube. It could disappear tomorrow. They could just decide to delete my channel for literally no reason at all. And you know what? They can do that. They don't have to have any reason at all because it's their platform. And so knowing that, it's like, how do I diversify? How do I secure myself and my family financially in the event that something like that happens? And so to be honest, and I haven't really said this to any of my videos before, I don't expect to be doing YouTube even, I don't know, maybe 5 years from now, but certainly not 10. I won't be here in 10 years. I'll be doing something else, something hopefully bigger, better, crazier, and hopefully still lucrative. But, I honestly don't want to do this in 10 more years. I just, to be completely blunt, I mean, it like anything else, it just gets redundant and repetitive. And yeah, you can do things to spice it up, but it ultimately all comes back to the same thing. It's like, publish a video, read the comments, interact, do it all over again. And you know, I'm just,
That's why you guys.
yeah.
That's why you got to keep the positive comments up, guys. You know, like
No, it's
sometimes.
not that. No.
Oh man, sometimes I've just been like felt like walking off my balcony. Sometimes in Australia,
Man,
some of the
yeah.
comments you read, eh? But when the comments are
Yeah.
all good, you're like, yeah, man, I'm gonna keep going, guys. We're gonna keep getting those topics done.
They play a part. You have to, you have to build a thick skin to it. Honestly,
Yeah.
if that was the reason why I wanted to stop, I would have stopped years ago. Like
Yeah.
you either can handle it or you can't, and there's plenty of folks that
Oh
don't,
man.
and so they just they go off the
Sometimes
wall,
the comments can be brutal. I mean, I think that over the years, though, the comment section for our channels have gotten really good. And I love
They have,
that.
they have.
That's what I
Yep.
mean. The viewers have just become so good. And I like that small community kind of thing. Like, but speaking about YouTube and the problems, like I was watching this Corey X Kenshin. He talked about racism and favoritism. It's favoritism, man. Like I can tell you from a smaller creator's standpoint, it's favoritism, dude. YouTube has their favorites, and that's all it is. It wouldn't be racism at all, because I've had a guillotine dropped on my channel like 3 times in the history of my channel, where things have been like, I'm like, man, this is it. This is the time where my channel's going to break out. Every video I'm uploading is doing so well. People are loving it. And then the next video is like 20K views from like 50K views or 60K views. I've had that happen like 3 times. Other creators I talked to didn't believe me. They were like, nah, it's all in your head, man. Then they had it happen to them, and they're like, oh, dude, you're right. Like, what you're saying is right, man. I'm like, well, yeah, it's just YouTube, right? Favoritism is the big one there. This guy hit it on the head.
They just follow the money. I don't.
It's not
really
even
think
that, though, dude. It's not even that. There are.
I don't know if they have an incentive. I mean, but why? What other incentive would there be? Honestly, I mean, they all chase money. I mean, everyone, I think, to an extent, chases money. I mean, that's kind of why we do what we do. But what other motivator would there be to?
I can't say it on the stream. I can't say it on the stream because, like, I have my thoughts.
Oh, so you know, huh?
I think I know what exactly is going on. Like, I do think I know. But it's favoritism here. Bang. This guy's nailed the one word there.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
It's favoritism. Oh, yeah.
I know what you're going to say.
It's favoritism. But that's just you. That's the game, right? At the end of the day, though, like, instead of looking, this is what I was saying with the glass half full versus glass half empty. At the end of the day, I got an amazing audience to stick around, and they love what I do anyway, even if I don't get promoted to new people or whatnot. And the other channel that's making the exact same content, even ripping off my content, they're getting promoted by YouTube. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm going to look at what I've got, and I'm doing well. I'm healthy, this and that. So I've always seen, instead of being salty, just be humble. And it doesn't matter. Like, life will give you wins in other ways that you never imagined. So that's sort of how I've sorted it. Yeah, this favoritism thing, this guy nailed it on the head. Favoritism. It exists on YouTube in amplitudes more than what the average viewer would be aware of. So Chris Kingy said 2 of my favorite tech tubes in one. Sweet. Okay. And then Greg, you got some beer money here from Alejandro Rubio.
Beer money.
Yeah.
All right. I'll take that.
Yeah.
All right. Was that Rubio?
Yeah.
Wow, Alejandro, I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
you can pronounce his name because you got the Spanish. Yeah.
Well, how were you about to say Alejandro?
Alandrio. I said Alandrio.
Alandrio.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's the Aussie squeak.
Yeah. Say it again. Can you say it again?
Alejandro.
Alejandro.
The J sounds like an H.
Yeah.
Or less
So you know,
Spanish,
So you're the guru on that. So Alejandro. Sorry for mispronouncing your name, brother. Alejandro.
That's with the Hispanic ancestry.
Yeah.
I have to at least know how to pronounce these names, or most of them. I've seen some weird ones, but
yeah. So no, that's awesome.
Much appreciated.
So, Alejandro, man, that's it. Okay, so basically the used GPUs. So what's going on right now? How much should you pay for a used GPU? Finally, we're answering the stream's topic here. So I like to pay, when I'm buying a used GPU, I'll pay up to around 75%, usually in a normal market. Now, we're getting back to a normal market, so I would expect to pay $500 3070. I'd be paying $400, right? 75% of that. Well, that's 80%. So yeah, around $375. So this person here is these are the prices I'd be paying. Now, locally, you're going to get a better deal than $385 off eBay, right? So that 75% target for a 3070, what you can buy it new for versus used, that's going to save you money. Now, in terms of the card's condition, always ask the seller. Now, this is going to be more important than ever to ask the seller if they were mining on it. If they were, did they keep the settings in check? If it was just a willy-nilly person selling his GPU, because he didn't care about it. He was just mining it on default settings. I would avoid that like the plague. That GPU probably doesn't have a whole lot of life if it's been mined for over a year, and the default settings are bad. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents there. But also another thing is a lot of people fail to forget. This is one thing that everyone's just assuming that if you buy a used graphics card now, it's from a crypto miner. That's like, this is this huge, no, like, especially if you're buying an RTX 3060, I'm going to say the majority of those are probably not from crypto miners. And they're probably from people who want to upgrade now that the prices have come down. So they bought an RTX 3060 for, say for instance, 450 USD or 500 USD. They're seeing a 3080 Ti is now like I think they come down like $830, man.
3080 Ti's are in the 800s.
Yeah, they're coming down heaps, dude. Like, they're coming down heaps, even more. Like, the striking time's getting close. Not quite there yet. But yeah, they're coming into the $900 territory now. And I swear I made a video yesterday. I was like, I was editing yesterday and I saw them down to like $840 or something. So they're coming down in price. Now that 3060 person's probably like, oh, I'll just go out and buy and upgrade my 3060 now and get like nearly double the performance. So you're just
but
going to get
probably thinking too, he can get most of his initial investment back on the 3060, right?
Well, he's going to be, in absolute terms, he's not going to be doing too bad, right? Because he can sell that 3060 for say $300 or maybe 280. Let's have a look at what people were selling. Let's have a look at what they're selling 3060s for. So, okay, 320. Wow, that's a 3060 Ti. Sorry, so $300. People are paying $300. So for a used 3060, that's not bad, right? So he's probably lost $150, but he's seen how much the 3080 Ti's have come down from, right? They've gone down from $1,300 down to $850. He's like, well, look at the difference there, $450 drop. I've lost $150, but now I can go upgrade, get a much better deal in his eyes. So a lot of people were doing that, actually. That's why I picked up a lot of used graphics cards in Australia, just from people just chucking them up on Marketplace because they wanted to go get that graphics card right now. So, yeah. So that was crazy. So there we go. Yeah.
I mean, if you think about that analogy, though, so 3060 for, what, 500, sell it for 300, and then you're going to buy a 3080 or 3080 Ti for 800 or 900 again. I mean, that's still a sizable jump. I mean, you're basically paying almost double, what you initially paid for. That's the thing too. Is like, how is discretionary spending going to affect all this, right? With people tightening up, like are people actually doing that? Like, how many people are actually looking at their 3060s and saying, you know what, I could do better. The prices have come down so much. Like, it's not that the 3080 Ti was, this okay deal at MSRP. It was an awful deal at MSRP. It was like over $1,000. Nobody was going to buy it. So what did? They dropped the price because now it's kind of interesting again. But I that's why I feel like there's still a lot of room to go in this, and I think this is going to hinge off the back of whenever Nvidia actually announces their cards, which should be before the end of the year. Why would they miss the holiday season? That's like the only thing they have going for them at this point, with everything tightening up everywhere else. I mean, honestly, like, if you think about it from Nvidia's perspective, who the heck is going to buy a $1,000 card after Christmas next year? Like, if the market continues on this track, there's absolutely no way that that's going to play into their hands. So it's got to be before Christmas. I'd say they're still probably going to announce in September, October.
I think they're going. Yeah, I think it'll be October by the looks of it. They're going to announce pretty soon. They got to get that. They got to get those $2,000 4090s out there. That's they've got to. Yeah. See, the problem is the companies. This is the thing for AMD and Intel and Nvidia. It's going to be a big reality check this time around because they've always used to having the Fed back them, right? What happens when the central bank's against your business interests? That is a big thing now. Yeah. This is a big market, right? You're used to getting more profit every time you make a graphics card or a CPU. You're used to getting more. Now all of a sudden, the extra portions have been slashed off the table. You've got to learn to micromanage more than you've ever done that, and you're not used to micromanaging. So what happens? Initially, you go into panic mode. Intel gamer days. Every day I want to play. Is this panic mode? I mean, you start doing things that you not usually never do, right? You start doing things that you maybe be seen as the market is irrational, but that's the initial reaction. But then you have to analyze what's going on and saying, okay, we just got to accept the money's getting more tighter, the way things are the way they are. People are laughing in the comments like, what?
Yeah, no,
what happened? Intel Gamer Days. When Margo showed me
that was
like,
a nice way
man.
to squeeze that one back in.
I had to squeeze that one back in. But so these companies are going to now have to react. And the thing is about companies, just like the Federal Reserve, they're slow to react. And sometimes they react so slow and in the wrong way that they do even more damage than they initially thought. This is what I was telling people as an individual. The one benefit you have, and I've been saying this for over a year now, and I want to keep driving this home. The one benefit you have as an individual is that you can react quickly. You just got to know the certain scenarios that could happen. And these are the two biggest scenarios that could happen at this point in time, is they keep going through with the tightening. The Federal Reserve keeps up the tightening. The markets are going to keep getting hammered. Money's going to get tight. Or they reverse the printers. And if that happens, just if the printer roll gets reversed, you're going to be able to react quickly, and just that same day you'll be able to go out and spend it all. So that's the thing. The companies like Intel and AMD and Nvidia, they can't react so quickly. When these printers start getting turned off, they've got all these plans in motion for another year that they have to enact.
Yeah. Well, they've already these chips are already made. These cards are already ready to go. I mean, assuming these AIBs have already gotten these chips as well. I mean, they're putting boards together. They're getting cards together, full-fledged cards. They've got pallets of stuff maybe ready to ship out. Who knows? I don't know how ahead of the game they are. But Nvidia is certainly already finished with the first batch of production of these things. They're already sitting on shelves ready to go. And I was talking with Josh earlier, like the way that they plan these things, oftentimes they're already working on the next generation by the time they announce the generation that's coming out now. So 5000 series, or 5000 series is already in the works. So they plan way ahead, and that's what we were talking about is how did they behave, say in 07, 08? I can't remember the generation of car that was launched.
End of 08. I wasn't really paying too much attention because I was just a single builder. But I would assume end of 2008 Christmas, GPU prices. I would imagine price cuts galore. There you go.
Oh yeah.
So it's a GFC.
Who's buying, right? And then now, after what we've been through, which I would dare to say was probably a bit worse from that angle. People aren't stupid. Like yes, there's going to be that out of touch spender that's just going to spend because it's the new thing and they don't think about the consequences, whatever. But I think the general public is already so fed up with the way that things have been. And now, by the way, we're going to give you this new generation and it's going to cost a bit more, but that's not our fault. I just don't see this going well for either of them, to be honest.
Well, yeah.
The timing is just awful.
It is, man. But we'll get onto this article soon. Sorry, I always forget to plug the sponsors early in the video. So guys, if you need a Windows 10 Key Pro license, BFTYC, smash that coupon in. Links in description below. Look at that discount. It's going to get applied. $15. You can get activated today. Lifetime key, single end user license. Then we get onto Corsair. Even though they haven't sent me anything in Japan, I was like, man, can I get a chair, for instance? They're like, look, Brian, we're just sending you a keyboard and some RAM. I was like, okay, cool, I'll go with that. But if you want a cool mic that you can go with, guys, this is like the Wave 3 is just the simple plug up, get started. You're going to have no problems live streaming, no problems with popping and all that stuff. If you want a more acquired taste, I've got a video coming for you with a bit of a used microphone, used mix board. You can get that nice, warm broadcaster kind of feel. Greg loves that broadcaster feel, don't you, Greg?
Yeah, that juicy voice. I love it.
Saddest thing is too, like this setup that I got is cheaper than the Wave 3, which is already a really cheap mic at $150.
Wow.
Yeah, like the used audio is like, oh my God, used audio is so much cheaper than...
That's phantom power, yeah? 48 volt?
Yeah, dude. Used audio can be like the biggest bargains of the century if you sort of know what you're looking for. So people have requested I do a video on used audio. I'm going to definitely hit that for the audience. But there's also some. Okay, so also, shall we move on from the graphics cards?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Alessandro, did I get that right? Alessandro. Okay, so he's donated another $20 for beer money. Thanks, brother. That's. Man, I'm gonna be getting drunk tonight. Also, I'll send you some money on PayPal so you can get drunk.
Or is
you know, he said
one?
another 20, man. He's like, here's some more beer money.
Oh man,
dude, he's like buying a car at this stage. So we got asked from. We'll go over to Q&A though. Let's move over to Q&A. You guys can ask Greg questions, ask us questions. We're here to. Well, at the end of the day, this whole channel, my channel is just Greg's channel's there for the viewers, man. We're here to. I mean, I love these live chats where we hang out and. Yeah, everyone likes this too. Oh man, I'm just in heaven, dude. Like, I'm gonna go out and buy an Intel CPU, and in Tokyo, and I'm gonna go up to walk like a group of hot chicks. I'm just gonna walk up with this Intel CPU and show them, and like, you know what I mean? And then if they like get away from me, you're creepy. If they say like get away from me, creepy, I'm just gonna show them this guy. Like,
no, that's when you know she's not a keeper. If she says get away from me, but if she's into you, you know, you flash her the chip, she's like all about it.
Look how excited this girl is, man. Like, this is like,
yo. That's how I won her. I mean, you just gotta show her the goodies, you know. If she knows what it's worth, she's the keeper.
Bro, I gotta give this guy, this actor's a boss. Like, he's nailed his role. He's like, look, just hang on down. Look, this is the usual reaction I get. Okay, when I got an Intel CPU and I go out in public, this is the usual reaction I get. Okay, girls go crazy at me. Okay, that's a. Oh man, this is what I woke up to this too. By the way, Marco said you got to get this in, so I was like, wow, this is something. Oh yeah, Intel's just embracing the new generation, man. K-pop's where it's at. Well, this is Taiwan, isn't it? Taiwan T-pop. Would it be TW pop? I don't know. Anyway, so we got asked from Kevin Sibber, who's been doing YouTuber longer between the two of you? I'd say I definitely have. Cause,
well, you've been doing it since like 2010, yeah?
Yeah. I've been doing like full time. I was doing it since 2016 was when I decided to go full time.
That's about that's about when I was doing. I mean, if you don't count like when I got out of college, that was 2017, and that was when I could have gotten a real job and decided to do YouTube full time. So yeah, we've actually been committing 100% to it for about the same time. But yeah, you definitely had a head start on the total channel length for sure. Yeah,
so I mean, yeah, I've been in YouTube for ages, man. Never thought this would become a career, that's for sure.
Yeah, same. If you told me I was going to be a YouTuber in high school, and knowing now what it's turned into, I mean, could you imagine if we started this back in like the early infancy days, like, and actually committed to it, like hardcore?
Yeah. See, that's one thing I regret doing, not taking it so serious until I was like, okay, well, people want to watch videos from a random Aussie, you know, banging around with used tech. I wish I'd envisioned a bit more. And, but you know, dude, at the time I was busy enjoying life too. Like, I think it's hard because there's this big discussion of like, I know there's some of my friends are, oh man, I wish I was more business focused when I was younger. I was like, you know, to be honest, I think you can't get those days back. When you're a teenager and you're in your 20s, young 20s, you cannot get those days back. You can't just go on a time portal and jump, you know, and say, oh, we're going to relive those days. You can't do that. Like, those are the days you want to be partying, man. Like, you're going to have the best party days of your life and they're going to be the best memories ever. And I would never take that back for, like, would I be more astute? Would I be more like play less video games? Yeah. Like, if there was one thing I'd do, it was play less video games, which is kind of counter-indicative to our audience. Like, you know, because
that's all we play games. Yeah,
play games. And all. You guys play games and use the gear and stuff like that. But no, it's.
No, I feel you. I'm the like. I mean, when I was in high school, especially, I really didn't. I guess even in college too. I really wasn't the partier type. I never really have been. I will kind of let loose at events and things. Like when we were in Taiwan, you know, there were some nights you just have at it, have fun.
Oh man,
you know?
I went way too loose.
I remember. So did I actually the first year. But
wait. Sorry, interlude. What were we doing at what was the sushi restaurant thing again? Remind me.
Sushi Express?
Remember when we were doing something? I was doing something so stupid in a sushi restaurant.
You were eating the sushi really slow and making like these
That's
Intimate
right.
sound.
That's right. I was telling everyone in the sushi restaurant how good the sushi was, right? Like
Yeah. Oh, you were telling them. You were showing them how
yeah,
good it was.
and the
when you were-
reactions they were given, I was like, that was what fueling us all, man. We were just laughing head up. We were laughing so hard. That's right, because everyone else was laughing so hard. Like, damn, this foreigner's really enjoying his sushi. I was like, yeah, guys, you got no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that Sushi Express is the bomb, man. If you just want some like late night sushi, just hit it up, man. It's that, and then you can hit the seven. There's like a 7-Eleven on every corner in Taiwan after that. So, yeah, you just get yourself a drink on the way home.
Sorry to cut you off though. Back to where you were.
No, you're good. I was just saying I didn't really party much, and I think, I played a lot of sports and things, and I knew I was never good enough to go even to, get into college level stuff, let alone pro. But I had fun with it. I just wish I had spent more time doing things that were going to prep me for the future. I guess you and I differ a bit in that sense, because yeah, it's nice to enjoy the time while you're young, but I think the time to really enjoy life is when you've got kids and grandkids and you're financially set and you don't have to worry anymore. Like that's my end goal, and I wish I had been more foresightful when I was a kid, which is a lot to ask for any high schooler, but yeah, that's just what I would do differently, I guess.
Yeah. What can you do?
Yeah. I'd build a time machine and go back.
Yeah, I would build a time. I wish I could build a time machine. I think that's what's come out of this conversation.
Yeah.
I wish we could build time machines and relive the days.
Well, they say you can venture into the future, but you can't really go back into the past.
Mm-hmm.
The physics of it all. Yeah.
So actually, speaking of the past, we can go back into the past with this holiday 2008 GPU guide. Price cuts galore.
What a killer transition.
Now, back then, $300 was a flagship card. So if we relate that to the M2 money supply, this is the scariest thing. And this is what I've been trying to say to people.
GTX 280, is that what that is? Yeah. Golly.
Yeah. So,
back when they made cards all artsy, looked like they were painted.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Another thing, so comments are like, Brian, thanks for the $5 donation, Jas. Could you guys join engineering or financial career? No, dude, like, I would go back to my financial university career and say, you guys have it all wrong. I would tell them all, this is what's going to happen. Money printers are going to spool up. This is the future. Start investing in meme coins as soon as you see a doggy coin. And people would be like, this guy is an idiot. Kick him off the planet.
They laugh at us.
But then you'd be speaking the truth. And that's like the whole financial education at university was like, it was good. Like the statistics side was brilliant. All the statistics and formulas and knowing how the system worked back then was good. But all their like this is how you do things. Keynesian economics is the only way to go forward. It's the holy grail. That's what we got drilled into us in finance at university. I'm like,
was it Keynesian for you, or was it the Austrian school of thought? What was it?
Well, there's monetary school, there's Austrian, there's a few others, and at the end of the day, though, it's like you're starting to realize now that the biggest problem is governments. So
they have a knack for messing things up.
But it's not just like, it's just, yeah. Anyway, let's get back. We'll go on to that after. If the audience
wants to. That's a rabbit hole, my friend.
Yeah.
That is a deep, dark rabbit hole.
If the audience wants to talk about how the lower living standards are correlated with higher government spending and higher government intervention, that'd be a very good correlation to look at, right? It'd be a very strong correlation, and it would have some good scientific evidence behind it to say, hey, if it gets worse, then our living standards are going to drop even more. But so $300 was a flagship graphics card. That was the baller card in 2008. Now the baller graphics card now is a 3090 Ti, $1,500. I'd say that's a big increase over M2 money supply since 2008.
Oh, well, look at cell phones, though. I mean, that's something I think you could probably compare apples, or as close to apples as possible, and without looking at other cards. But like cell phones were, flagship phones were $300-400, and that was like unlocked or whatever. I guess if you just bought it outright and didn't roll it into a payment plan. But now you buy flagship phones all day for over $1,000, and that's just people just accept that as reality.
Okay, so hear this out though. GTX 280 was $649 launch price, and it went down. I think they're saying in the article it went down to $300.
In how short a time span?
Well, I'll just check, but that's a huge drop. So 2008, like in 5 months.
Really? Wow. Okay. Well, so that
Wait, yeah.
writing's on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, if people are saying out there GPU prices can't drop, have a look at 2008. Quantitative tightening happened before quantitative easing, fellas. The Fed was doing what they did now in 2008 as a bit of a precursor. Markets then got destroyed. Cash started drying up. Dude, I remember buying the Star Wars collect. This is actually, speaking of 2008, after I lost all my money on stocks, I'm like, you know what, man? I'm going to stick to what I believe in. And that's when I learnt those lessons, right? Started buying up Star Wars collectibles because I was like, no, man, they can't produce this stuff, right? $300 for what was the big one that I got? It was the Millennium Falcon Ultimate Collector Series. And I got it for $350. I remember. It was 500 brand new, right? I'm like, well, this is a collectible. They can't produce this again. Like they stopped production. The thing went up to like $2,500 in a few years' time.
Jeez.
So that's what I was like. Oh, I'm going to start investing in myself. Oh, that's the caddy. Oh, dude, that's so cute.
She just wants food. I think her bowl's empty. She only does this when she wants something.
Oh, that's so cute. It's like, hey, Greg, give me a feed. Greg just exposed his cat though on live stream.
That is it's a big. I apologize. I forgot this is your channel, so it's you're taking the hit, not me.
So yeah, guys, the graphics card prices, they have come down in the past. There has been massive price cuts, and there will be massive price cuts again if financial conditions get worse. Nvidia, AMD, and Intel, they are not immune to the effects of the market. So that's the biggest thing to come out of that, man. So there it is right there. The Ethereum merge as well. This is set to happen next month. It's gaining traction. We're only like, I think 20 days away now from this massive merge where Ethereum mining will no longer be a thing. And like, I think the whole thing is like, there's so much big companies invested in Ethereum. There's so many big companies invested in it. And they're probably like, we don't want to pay these miners any more money. We're sick of them siphoning off our, big Ponzi scheme as it already is. But we're sick of the miners taking out the profits. So that's probably the real incentive behind them getting Ethereum off mining and proof of stake. And so then all those miners are like, well, we've got to go somewhere else, and there's just going to be nowhere to go. You'll find that that'll quickly dry up as well. So that's coming. That's in the works. Let's move over now to finally, guys, we do apologize for just all the... actually, no, we don't apologize. We had a lot of fun. This live stream's been awesome. But we're going to go over some questions. If we've been ignoring them, sorry for that. We're going to go over some Q&A. You guys can ask Greg, what's the meaning of life? Actually, I'll start.
Oh.
What's the meaning of life? Let's start off.
I don't know, man. Legacy. Have kids, and I don't know. Leave if you can't have kids or you don't want kids. Leave something behind that makes an impact.
Okay,
it's a pretty good start. I think.
So you've got to live for the past.
No, live for the future. No, you've got to leave something behind. I suppose that doesn't sound like the past.
I'm throwing in a trick question.
For the purpose of the future. Yeah, that is like mind-jarring stuff right there.
Yeah. So I was watching this anime. My ex and my boy, they were like, you've got to watch this Attack on Titan. And have you seen it? The Attack on Titan, the anime series. I actually really enjoying it.
I don't think so. I know I've heard of it though. Yeah.
Okay, because there's a new season coming out next year. It'll be the final season, and I'm like, after I watched, I was like, "Can you guys? You've read the comics? Can you just tell me what happens?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Come on, just tell me what happens. I want to know." But there's one actually, no, I can't. If people haven't seen it, I can't spoil it. But basically, there's things to do with the past and the future and stuff like that. And you start thinking differently about it, because what if people in the future are actually already aware of the past and before they've even been born? So it's kind of, is there powers that exist that can... Yeah, anyway, you talking about this legacy stuff just threw me in this catch-22. It's like, well, what if the past is the future already, and you're just saying, is that the most important thing? It's like, well, who knows?
It could just be one big loop and we're just feeding into it.
Yeah, we're in a doom loop, a perpetual doom loop. Yeah. So how do you break the cycle? That's the thing.
Oof.
See? They were good. Yeah. So
someone asked, dating today is hard. What do you think of that quote?
Yes. This is coming from a guy who liked to go out and meet girls naturally, like meet them at places. I think it's a lot of like, it's easy if you're into the whole internet dating scene. I think if you meet people online and you're good at meeting people online and that's your sort of thing, then it's going to be easy for you. But for me, like I'm awkward when it comes to talking to women online for some reason. Like I'm awkward at it. In talking in real life is where I've got my confidence, where I'm able to go up to people and say, hey, what's going on? How you doing? Start a conversation with them, which I can't do on the internet. Like, I don't know. How do you strike up a joke with someone you've kind of never met? For me, it's impossible. Like,
well, I think, I mean, there's a lot of folks saying, oh, internet dating, yuck, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm a bit biased only because my brother met his wife that way. And they're more reserved people. They're quieter. They don't really have, like, bar scenes or anything like that where they would, actively pick up chicks or whatever. They're not really in settings like that. And so sometimes what you can look at that like is a stepping stone to actual personal face-to-face dating, because sometimes you just don't run into situations where you would meet somebody like that, and so it's a good place to start for some folks. It's definitely not where it should stay if you're serious. I mean, if you're serious, figure it out, meet in person and see if it's a real thing. I was always of the mindset where, like, I don't want to waste time. Like, I told Lisa this too. Like, if you're serious about me and you want to make this work, because we were long distance. Like, she lived in Europe, I lived here, and there was a lot of that internet dating, so to speak, where you just have to have conversations over the phone, over FaceTime, whatever. And so some people can't even help it. But if your intentions are good and you trust the other person, you both trust each other, I think it's just a tool. It's a means to an end, like anything else, right?
Okay, well, we'll go to chat. Do you guys think dating sucks now? 1 for yes, 2 for no.
It definitely sucks now. That's for sure. That's a different.
Mine's 1. It sucks now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a
it's tougher. There's a lot more, I think. There's a lot more going on now too. It's not. I'm a 1.
So dating does suck now. So for me, like, just keep in mind, this came from a guy who I tried internet dating, bro, and I failed. I got catfished. I forgot how many times in a row it was. No, but I got catfished 3 times at least in a row, and that's when I gave up. After the 3rd time, I'm like,
how long were you deep? Like, how deep were you into these relationships or conversations before you realized that?
I went to a date. I went to the date. Like, we talked, for about a week maybe, go have a date. And then I went on a date and I was just like, man, it was actually really uncomfortable. I'm like, you're not the person in the photos. Like, what, why you do it? Like, I mean, some people might call it vain or might call it shallow.
No, but I think it's true to an extent. You have an expectation. I mean, like, physical traits are a part of attractiveness for virtually everyone, and so if you have that kind of that setting in mind, and then it doesn't really add up, then that's gonna be a letdown.
Like, well, I don't know about other people, right? But I really take my health seriously, right? I drink green tea every morning. I'll have fruit for breakfast or very light breakfast. I'll eat healthy during the day, and my ex is the exact same. The ex, the special ex, she's exactly like, we've got the same thinking going on there. So it's like, I'm used to that. And that's what I want to meet. I want to meet someone who really takes health seriously. Like, that's the first thing. And so for me, when I meet a lot of these people, I just feel like they don't take their health seriously. And it's like, well, that's, and then, like, I'm like, why are you different in the photos? And it's like, it's just, it was so awkward 3 times in a row, man. So yeah, that was after that I gave up on internet dating. So
I had it was a girl I dated when I was a lot younger. She did some modeling and stuff, and I remember the first date we went on was at the beach, and she chose the beach intentionally because she wanted me to see her without makeup. So it was like an upfront kind of direct, like, hey, this is the real me. It's not what you see on. It was cool at the time. It was actually a pretty cool thought.
That was from the internet?
No, this one wasn't the internet. No, but this was. I mean, I had seen her a couple times before we actually agreed to go on a date, and she always had a lot of makeup on and nice dresses or whatever, and so I hadn't actually seen her without makeup. And to some people, that matters a lot, and so she was very direct about that, which I at the time really did appreciate. There were no surprises, and that's how I am with dating in general. And now that I'm married, Lisa knows for sure that I'm very upfront about my intentions. And if you don't like it,
cool,
we
man.
can part ways. But, like, I don't want to get too invested into something and then it not work out. After essentially wasting 6 months of your time, and then you
Yeah.
find this thing out later. It's like, tell me it all now. I want to know everything.
This girl's
Just
really
get it
cool
all
though,
out.
man. Props to her, man. Respect. So,
Yeah,
but
that was pretty cool.
chat's saying one. So yeah, chat overwhelmingly agrees that dating sucks now.
Oh yeah,
So,
100%.
we also got asked how Greg and I met as well. Have we told that on stream before? How Greg and I met? Like,
Wait, how did we meet?
you were copping a heap of crap about saying the Intel CPUs weren't bad buying. Like, I remember you saying like Intel was a better buy than AMD at the time. This was ages ago. I think it was like Ryzen first gen, and Ryzen first gen did suck for gaming.
Oh.
It was like,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
everyone,
I said that
dude,
the 6400 was going to outperform the 1600, and it did for a very long
dude,
time.
you were right, but no one,
I got
everyone
it.
else in the tech scene just didn't want to say anything because we didn't want to face the AMD fanboy wrath. And so I reached out to you behind the scenes, and I was like, man, don't worry, I've copped crap on Reddit before. I've been there at that place. So yeah, I reached out to Greg, just tell him not to worry. This is YouTube. Welcome to the game.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was a terrible game because it was just like AMD fanboy buyism in 2016 was so heavy.
It really was. I think that was the
2017.
first
Yeah. It was-
shocker I had, like, and the first real culminated backlash that I ever had from an audience was
all
that
because you
video.
said, guys, I would rather buy a CPU than this. And like, there was, yeah, you were just like,
to me, it was objective. I mean, it was objectively a better chip to buy I forget what it was. The 6th gen was Skylake, right? It was like budget Skylake chips were better at the time for gaming, and they just didn't. They did not like. I guess because they have just. I mean, I don't blame the audience for being so emotionally invested because they were just fed up with the fact that AMD wasn't really competing for so long before that. We were on freaking pile driver Vashira XXX 15, revision architecture, and they hadn't actually come out with anything viable since until Ryzen. So I get the hype, I get the following, but objectively, it still wasn't the best for gaming. And yeah, that was a rough time. I remember that now that you pointed that out. I do appreciate that because
No,
you let me know I wasn't alone.
But at the same time, I just wanted to talk to you behind the scenes as well because I was looking for other YouTube friends. You know what I mean? Like, we just got along like a house on fire, man. When me and Greg started chatting, we just started shooting the SHIT, and he was a cool dude, man. Like, he was just cool. I was like, man, yeah. Then we met at Computex. We shared each other's sponsors and stuff like that. We helped each other out behind the scenes whenever we could. And yeah, like, it just became a pretty, like, I'm still want to go to Florida and hang out with you in Florida. That's one big
House
thing.
is always open, man. Come on.
And same with Greg, right? He knows he can come anywhere I'm at, any time of the year, come stay with us. He's a brother. And, and so that's just how we met. And we've always been really, like, he's just been a cool friend, man. So that's the story behind me and Greg. We just got along ever since we met, man. We've never really had any big disagreements or anything like that,
and even if we did, hash it out. Like, hey, we're not
tech.
afraid to say how we feel, and that's what I really like about you and I admire is that you're very direct.
It's
and
a product, bro. It's not. It doesn't have
Yeah.
feelings. It doesn't have feelings.
Well,
Who
I
cares?
think too, and I think you can attest. There's a lot of fakes out there, and there are a lot of people that act one way on camera or in one setting and act totally different in another. And it's like it's literally high school, bro. It's just like freaking high school days, and I'm so sick of it. Like,
it does my head in, bro. Yeah, it does my head in. Yeah, like what you see.
I graduated a long time from that.
What you see on camera with me and Greg is what you get in real life too.
This is exactly how we are, and we can both attest to that with each other because we've hung out in real life.
Yeah.
Like, if you were different in real life, I'd be like, nah, man, I'm good. I don't want to hit that bar up or whatever.
Yeah, like, who is this guy? Exactly. Who is this guy, right? Who is this guy? That's what you'd be saying, man. Like, this guy's a bit of a, what's going on upstairs? So it's,
exactly.
No,
It
man.
takes a certain complex to be able to pull off that split personality that some people can. They can just do it so well. They can turn it on and off. Camera's rolling, boom, I'm one way. Camera's not rolling, boom, I'm another way.
Learned that from, like, just to be yourself was the easiest thing, man. Even if you make mistakes, just be like, I messed up. Sorry.
The audience picks up on it. It rubs off. It really does.
Yeah, so that was one thing I learned. Like, for me personally, I learned that when I was a teenager, man. I was flying around just meeting chickies all the time, dude. I was lying, dude, in my teenage days. I was lying a lot to girls. And it just like, I'm like, this is so troublesome because you forgot what you said to one chick, and then
Well,
they're
that's
pulling, they're like, oh, but you said this and you said this, and I'm like, oh crap. So I'm like, you know, I just started being honest, like, hey, yeah, I met a girl, went on a date with her, and I went on a date with you the other day before that. I'm sorry. I mean, sure, I lost a lot of forward momentum being honest, but at least I didn't have anyone hating me going forward. Like, they did actually hate me too, so I don't know, but like, it was just so troublesome to juggle lies, and I learned that from my teenage days. So, yeah, I don't know, man. But
I was never. I don't know. I never had the. I don't know, the cojones to do that. I mean, I was definitely into girls for sure. I wanted to, a lot of girls I thought were pretty, and
Bro,
I was like, man,
nothing
it'd be nice
better,
to take them out on a date. But like, I just never. I was always so afraid of rejection that I never really could muster the courage to go up to one of them and say, hey, let's do something. Come hang out.
chasing the tang, bro. That's what you had to do. It's, yeah. That's all. Like, on the Gold Coast anyway, like where I grew up, it was just, it was competition, right? It was like, you and it was sad because like as soon as we turned 18, we're having competitions on how many girls we could hook up with in one night. And looking back in hindsight, you're like, that's so disgusting. Yeah, look at all the like chicks you're passionate on dance. Like, it was, oh man, I wouldn't do it like ever again. But it's a memory that you laugh with you, like your good friends. Like those best friends that I had back then are still my best friends now. You know what I mean? Like they were awesome friends, and we just used to go out, have a mad time. And there was one of my friends, dude. We walked into a nightclub. It was the funniest thing. I don't know why. I've never told this on my channel, but he just said like, look guys, I'm gonna be hooking up straight away. And just like literally like, nah, dude, like get out of here. I remember me and my other friend are looking at him like, nah. You just see him just walks in, this shoulders back, the head back, confidence, and like literally within 2 minutes he's hooking up with the hottest chick on the dance floor. Just like, like, what the like? Man, I remember the look on me and my friend's face, like. Never seen anything like this. You're not paying anyone. He's not wearing a Rolex. He's not anything like that. It's just pure confidence. So like, after that, we were like, yeah, this guy's like top dog. His name's Lucas. So he's actually my best friend still to this day. But we just like, there's so many good memories on. I don't know how the stream went to this. Like, I guess the dating thing and how me and Greg met, and like, I think from that lesson there is that some people are going to be better than you at some things. And within friendships, some people are going to be better at some things than you are. Never treat your friendships like there's always good to have maybe a competitive nature there, but never be serious about that competition, because it'll ruin your friendships. And
Don't take it personally.
Yeah, I've had friendships back in the past when I was younger where they weren't close friends, but they'd get competitive with you and it'd be like a salty competition. And then, and it's ruined your friendship. And it's like, well, I don't want to be friends with this guy. It's always hardcore, man. It's always like, it feels like this guy would knock you out if he could, just to get ahead of you. Like, it's like, nah, I don't want friends like that.
It's like that passive aggressive competition where like they don't actually come out and say it, but like that they despise it when you win, or when you give them trouble, and I just don't. Again, I just like being up front. I really don't like that approach to things. It just doesn't get anywhere. I don't know.
So we got Simon McGreal. Brian, do you feel a little lost at the moment? Like with my YouTube forward content direction, that's about really. I do ever since, like, I'm going to be honest, like, in terms of being a little lost, I think everyone feels a little lost who's like, when you dig down deep down since what happened since 2020, I think a lot of people would feel a little lost because there's information being slammed in your face that is just false. And I think a lot of people are going to see that and go, what's the world turned into since 2020? So in that aspect, in what, forward content, and also in that aspect as well, I do feel a little lost. But in terms of me just being around people that I care about the most, that's not lost at all there. So it's really good. So the world's a weird place. Like, I've just learned to roll with the punches before 2020. And then 2020, after 2020, you just keep rolling with the punches. That's just...
You have no choice.
They just keep coming, bro.
Take it.
They keep coming, man. So the idea is not to get knocked out. You know what I mean? They're just going to keep coming. You're always going to get a haymaker here and there, and a sucker punch left. There's going to be the sucker punches. They're the ones that suck. They're the ones that are going to hit you by out of nowhere, left field, bang. And you just got to learn to take them and keep rolling, you know? So that's the biggest thing in terms of going forward and feeling lost. I mean, a lot of people out there are going to feel lost right now. I mean, Greg, you're on top of the world, though. Like, fix or flop, man. I'm seeing those videos. You're just loving fixing people's computers.
Yeah, hey, look, I mean, if I'm being totally transparent, it shouldn't be obvious, or this should be obvious to everyone. It gets the views, so I keep it going. You know, if no one wanted to watch it, I wouldn't keep doing it. But people, they eat it up, and you know, like I say in the videos, the least I can do is do what I do there for free for the people that are actually lending their systems, and it's yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where like you can repeat the exact same format every single time, and the video is always a little different. So it's kind of a winner there too, because it's not as there's not as much effort in planning ahead of time. It's just kind of like what you see is what you get. Let's fix whatever's on the table. Let's figure out what's wrong and dice it up. So it's you know, it's a box of chocolates, but it's been fun. It's fun to film. It's pretty easy to edit, and yeah. Hopefully I can keep it up. I don't know. We'll see. With YouTube, it could. I mean, any day now. Jesus, they could turn the faucets off. So we'll see. But
hey, man, YouTube can always. I guess that's a worry in the back of anyone's minds. You know, the spigots could always spin down.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. And I wake up with that mindset every day. It's like, okay, something could go wrong. Something probably will go wrong. How big or how small a deal am I going to make it? And what am I going to do about it to fix it, to address it? And so yeah, it's I don't really talk much about like mental health and all that stuff because I don't know,
I don't have experience in it, like really, like I think
exactly.
The reason I don't talk about it is because I haven't had it anywhere near as bad as other people, and I know that from experience, man. Like
exactly.
You know, I don't talk about it because it's like, nah, man, there's some people I've seen in my lifetime that have gone through some real you know, hard shit. And so that's why I'm like, nah, man, compared to them, I'm just like a little teardrop. So it's like...
That's literally what I wanted to say. Yeah, I don't talk about it because I just feel like I don't really have I don't have much of a right to, because there are so many things that are going well for me. I'm beyond blessed. And even if half the stuff that I've had given to me was taken away, I would still be blessed. I mean, it's... Yeah,
even if YouTube shut down tomorrow for me, bro, I'd still be like, hey, let's go.
Life happens, let's figure something else out, you know? Like, there's no sense in wasting all that energy being negative and just sulking. And so, you know, that's part of the reason why I'm trying to be proactive now and diversify, like I was saying earlier, trying to find other ways to I don't know, not be so attached to YouTube. I still want to make videos. I still enjoy it for the most part, but I just don't want to be, you know, symbiotic with it forever. I want to try other things and just see what sticks, you know?
Yeah. Wow, dude, the audience is starting to think we're depressed. So like we should...
I know, we sound like we're ready to throw in the towel today.
No, guys, I'm doing really, like, the one thing I'd say, I think Simon maybe's going through some tough times out there, but like one thing you can do as an individual is write down your strengths and your weaknesses and work on them both. And I mean, there's that saying, live every day like it's your last. No, I mean, like, dude, I'm not going to wake up this morning and go, yeah, let's go, let's do this, let's live. No, but like, I'm going to wake up and go like, today's good, man. Like, I'm going to make the most of it. Like, so I think there's the saying that I go by, strong mind, strong body. So you got to work to getting your mind into a strong sense of cutting out anxiety. Anxiety's a killer, man. Anxiety is one of the worst things that affects humans. And it's really, it's a wasted emotion. It's pointless.
It actually wreaks physical havoc on the body. I mean, like the feeling of anxiety and the chemicals that are released from that feeling, like in the brain, are actually physically detrimental.
Oh,
so
see, I've cut out anxiety like 5 years ago, man. I just realized it's worthless. It's a worthless emotion. It's just stupid. Yeah. It makes you make poor decisions. It's not even like, if you're anxious about something, write it down. Write down what you're thinking. Like, write down a solution more so to that problem. Yeah, and that's all you can do, because the anxiety itself is gonna really be detrimental to your health.
And it's like a magnet, man. It's hard to get rid of it. Like, it just wants to stick. It's really hard to get out of that rut where you just have that same, you know. And again, and I know for a fact that others have gone through way worse and have felt way worse anxiety than I have. But I do know when I was in college, I had a fair amount of it, just with tests and things going on, some other things in life. I was just all kind of hammering at once, and I remember I got I got shingles one time
Wow.
from being so stressed. And
Wow.
like I was like in my early 20s. I was going to the gym every other day, just doing light lifting, but trying to stay somewhat physically in shape. And then just all of a sudden, I know where just popped shingles.
Was that the
And I
AMD
went,
fanboys? Did they do that?
and that's what I was.
Oh, wow.
No, this was actually a good bit before YouTube. Well, I had just started YouTube, but it wasn't YouTube related. At that point, the people that were watching, the few that were all like super peppy and happy and cool. Like you don't start like getting the negative stuff until you get a little bigger, and you a larger sample size, you're bound to have a negative
AMD
Nancy or
pox.
two. But I went to the doc, and the doc's like, there's really no cause for it. It's in your body from the chicken pox, and like it could come up whenever. Usually, stress is the biggest factor there because it weakens your immune system, and that allows the virus to to pop up. And I remember ever since then when he told me, I'm like, wow, stress alone can cause things like this, and it sucked. I mean, like, Jesus, like I can't, it wasn't fun to have, but I've tried since then to just focus on other, like if I'm feeling bad about something stressing me out, just put my attention elsewhere. I think guys are generally pretty good at that, just dig into work or whatever.
Oh yeah, tunnel vision. I've talked about tunnel vision being a weakness, but it can also be a strength. And that's like just, hey man, let's get this Baldur's Gate 3 cracking, or let's get this Netflix going on. Boom. Yep. Forget about the problems. And
exactly.
I guess that's one trait that I know tunnel vision can help you out there. So yeah. There it is. So, and Richard Tata says that's what booze is for. Yeah, I've seen my dad. Like, dude, my dad has shown you if you've got anything going on upstairs, just drink it away. That's Dad Man's solution. That's
alcohol is it's a depressant, man. Like that makes it worse.
Dude,
bro.
my dad's body is a science experiment, man. The guy's in his 70s and he's been drinking every single day since he was 16 years old. Like, I've grown up not knowing a dad who's been sober. Like, but he's been a cool drunk. Like, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, Dad Man's been awesome. Like, he's been I guess, functional drunk. But one thing about it is like, that's why I tell people to eat onions, because that dude's ate onions his whole life and he's never had problems with his health, like big problems. So onions must be something that's really you got to have in your diet, man. If you're not eating onions, eat them. And that's where I get that from.
I wish I liked that.
Yeah, that's where the onions comes in, because if this guy wasn't eating onions, man, he'd be dead long ago. And we know that because that's the one thing he's done consistently in his life, and he's been drinking every day. So, that's that's it. Onions and beer, man. So, yeah.
I'm thinking of like onion flavored beer right now. Just like,
I mean, don't
just toss it in an onion while they're.
Well, I mean, for me, I'm trying to eat it every day. Like, don't eat too many, because I think if you eat too many, it can like wreak havoc on your stomach and your bowels and stuff. But there you go. Yeah, disclaimer. I'm not a medical. You should put a
disclaimer. You're not a medical professional.
Disclaimer. I'm not a medical professional. Yeah, so no, this is not medical advice. Yeah, I put in a disclaimer. There's not medical advice, not financial advice. I mean, at the end of the day, though,
people are right too. There is. I mean, genetics does play a role as well, especially with how, as far as I'm aware, how people behave when intoxicated and how addicting it can be. There's certain addictive traits that it can make it very dangerous for certain sequences of DNA, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. But it affects everyone. Some people, when they're drunk, they get super angry and super irate, and they're just horrible to be around. Some people, when they get drunk, they're super giddy, fun. I like to think that's how I am. I mean, if it made me the opposite, I wouldn't touch it.
My observation is that's from spirits, man, especially rum.
Yeah.
So different types of alcohol will push people in different ways. But beer, generally, for the most part, beer should be fine for everyone. It's when people start drinking spirits, man, especially rum, it just makes people want to fight and get angry, dude. Like, that's what I've seen from everyone I've known who's especially drinking rum. You'll have one of the like nicest friends as well, have one of the nicest friends, and then they start getting on the rum, and all of a sudden they're pushing you and punching you. Like, huh? Like, what? Why is Aaron throwing out punches like all of a sudden? Yeah, it's like Ryan J says that Bundy rum is fight juice. Yeah, exactly. That's what it's came. That's like it's literally what the term is.
I've always
Like,
been whenever I drink, it's usually something clear, vodka usually. Like I'll drink beer every now and then, but it's very. I mean, I just don't really like the flavor of most light alcoholic drinks. I don't know.
But Ash says, like, respect Brian, but it's an urban myth. And it's like, I'm a nurse source. And it's like, well, my eyes have seen this over time. How is that a myth for me? Because I've correlated this with my own personal experiences. When people have been on, especially when people have been on rum, I've seen them much more aggressive than when they've been on beers all night. So,
well, again, but I could say too, I've seen plenty of people who are drunk off beer that act like total a-holes. Like, everyone's gonna react differently to drinks, and some people might react the same to all drinks. Some might, it might depend on what's in it or whatever. But I'm sure there's some chemical process going on, and it just affects certain people differently. But I don't know. I mean, it's hard to be definitive about any of that stuff.
It's hard to be definitive, but to say I disagree with it's not. I'd say it's not an urban myth because I mean I've seen this firsthand. Growing up, getting drunk every weekend. You know what I mean? Like you start to correlate things like, why was I angry this weekend? Well, I'm going to cut out the rum. I'm going to cut out the rum. It's like, well, next weekend you're not starting to. You don't want. So
what's the chemical difference between rum and vodka?
See, rum has the least calories. Okay, that's interesting. So there might be some reasons behind it. If you dig deeper, there might be some reasons. But I'm just gonna go out. I'm just telling you, like from my own experience, and that's the rum. Yeah, like Ryan J said, rum's fight juice. Like that's what we know it as on the Gold Coast. So like, it really gets you started. So, I mean, it tastes pretty good. Not gonna lie. So, yeah. Anyway. We'll get on to another topic maybe where these but yeah, we'll ask some questions, guys. Greg, he's here, long time since he's been on the channel, and we've got some. I actually got one lingering question for you, and that is, at this point in time, what's the biggest thing you spend your free time on right now? So once the YouTube videos are done, all that stuff's finished, what's the one thing you sort of, when you go to just Greg time, what's the
time? Oh man, dude, I'm a snacker. I'm a late night snacker. I'll literally just like crash on the couch eating snacks, man. I mean, that's what I'm doing now. Lisa and the kids are, they're in Germany for a while visiting her family. Like,
when do they come back?
They'll be back in early September, so a few more weeks. She's gonna be there for a little over a month. But yeah, man, I'll just like crash late at night on the couch eating snacks. Like, it's so bad. Like, I do that a lot. I play quite a bit of video games as well. I do a lot of Minecraft and stuff. I got the racing sim. I'm usually racing on that at least a few times a week. And then now that she's been gone, I've been trying to get back into the lifting scene and stuff, trying to bulk up a tad. Most people don't know this, but I used to be like pretty jacked when I was a freshman in college. Like right now I'm only like 140, 145. Like I'm pretty light. And I gained like 25, 30 pounds of muscle in my freshman year in college. Worked my butt off to get there. Was taking all kinds of supplements. I never juiced, none of that crap. But I was taking a lot of stuff, and it was a lot to keep up with. And I stopped for like 2 months, and I lost all of it. Literally in 2 months. I lost all of it. It was too much work. And I tell my wife, because she's like, you need to go back. Like, why don't you gain those muscles again? She's like trying to encourage me. And it's a ton of work, man. Like, your body has a natural like equilibrium weight, and when you push it above that, you've got to keep it up, or it's gonna disappear. And that amount of input was just wasn't worth it to me.
So 2017, I was jacked. I was on the channel as well. We were like, Jack, yes, City. Yeah, like I used to be jacked. Yeah, so I was jacked. Like I was 80 kilo. Now I'm 70, but I was 80 kilo. 100 and what is that night? 185 or something. I don't know, whatever pounds. But like I was good. Like that was I was happy with 80 kilo. But dude, it took me. I had to go to the gym 3 times a week without fail. And that was hard when you're doing full time YouTube and you sort of like my passion was really hardcore YouTube. Just like bang, I wanted to get content done all the time. But I had to keep up the jacketing. And it was like, something had to give. And like my food bill was so expensive, dude.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm eating double what I'm used to eating. And it's like, man, is this like, for me, it was like a value thing. Is this worth it? To keep these muscles?
Mine was time. it was just time for me. Like it was so much time being devoted to this stuff. I mean, yeah, it was expensive as well, especially in college. Like I was spending almost all my money that I was earning for my summer job to put into supplements and like the extra food. I was buying tons of chocolate milk, tons of whey protein. I was taking BCAAs. I was taking creatine. Like I was doing, like taking all the supplements like a typical, starting out bodybuilder would or whatever. Not bodybuilder, but just someone wanting to gain weight. And yeah, it's a ton of input. It'd be different if I could work to get to that point and then just kind of like hit the save button and just leave it there.
I'll just get a suit. I think I'll just get a suit. Just look like I'm jacked out.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, I mean, if the look is what you're going for, it's pretty easy to fix that.
Just put on a suit, guys, the jacked suit. So we've got to ask the audience, what do you think about the Sony hikes the prices of PlayStation 5 in Japan and other markets but spares US consumers? This is simple then. If they're sparing the US consumers, that's the DXY. The US dollar's gotten really strong, like in the last year especially. Look at that. It's just gone up, right? So you've gone from 92 all the way to 108. That's them responding to the DXY. Sony conducts business in US dollars. That's what I was saying in yesterday's video. It's actually, even though the views suck, it's more of a technical video. But yesterday's video, I break that down pretty much. Why these companies, they all work out of USD. Everything, their bottom line's in USD.
The euro's now weaker than the dollar.
It's
like
insane,
for the first
isn't
time ever, I think. Yeah,
it's insane.
That's a big deal.
US dollar's gotten really strong to the point where that $500 converted now into Japanese yen is now more than those MSRPs of those prices, what they were in Japan. So they're selling it for, see, look at this. It's it was $363 in Japan, right? That's a bargain for a PlayStation 5. They're losing money, so they're losing too much money. So they've got to up those prices now to relate to this DXY and how much it's moved. So I would say this is not really like, I mean, it's inflation in your local currency, but it's mainly the cause for it is the DXY.
Here's the thing, though, and I think, especially with how much money has been printed, is it really that the U.S. dollar is getting stronger? Or is it just that like all these other currencies are just getting weaker at a quicker rate than ours? You know what I mean?
It's tricky because there's like it comes down to the shadow banking system, which was coined in 2007 by an economist, and you're starting to realize this whole system is just a web of total shit, man. Like they've made a mess of this whole system, and now it's like, well, which way is it going to go? It could go a little bit up, and then all of a sudden it could just dive off a cliff because all the interconnectings of it, no one really has a grasp of it. And apparently the Federal Reserve doesn't really know too much about like the system. They're just like they're just playing it month by month.
I don't think the Federal Reserve knows much of what they're doing.
Yeah, it's like, this is the scary thing. And when you start realizing you're now on this fun body bus, and the corners are getting deeper and the speed's going up. So it's like, oh, when's this thing going to tip completely over and maybe even go off the cliff? It's coming, right? If you start having heavier corners, if you start taking things more cautiously, cut spending, cut all this government spending, open regulations up, the bus is going to slow down. It's going to have an easier time. But you up on the regulations, printing more money, governments are starting to want all these bigger bills. Who's going to pay for all that? Federal Reserve's like, well, we can't do this anymore. Inflation's out of control. We've got a mandate here to control inflation. And so what happens is the bus is now the party bus, starting to wobble. The wheels are falling.
Yeah. Flat tires. Yeah.
Dude, the party bus is ready to call it quits. So, and what's going to happen is the dollar going to get weaker, is it going to get stronger? And that's what I was saying like in that video as well. No one, I cannot tell you that at all. Like, is it going to crash off a cliff or is it going to get stronger and stronger? I just think volatility, though, one thing I can guarantee you is volatility is going to pick up in the next year.
I love what Amoeba just said. Recessions are a feature.
They are.
I mean, you have. I can't think of any scenario where you don't have a recession.
So,
I mean,
tech yes, no comics, economics. So that's it. I think recession. Yeah, I mean recessions are a feature. Yeah, well they're a feature caused by. And it depends on how much the governments and it depends how much the governments and the Feds want to, Federal Reserve want to put us in this mess. So. America sneezes and the world catches a cold, and that's still so true because everyone still goes off US news, man. Everyone looks to the US for guidance, and then the US, Federal Reserve's just running it month by month, sort of, egging on the party bus, and that's sad. That's the sad reality of it. But there we go. In terms of, so that should answer the PlayStation 5 prices. If you see people are like, oh, it's some other, no, it's just pretty much the dollar index at this point. That's the reason why it's happening. And yeah, that's a interesting conversation. But we got asked in chat, what do I do in my free time? I actually watch a lot of read up a lot of financial news. I'm big into the finance stuff, man. I love it. And then of course, spending time with my boy. We got to go actually after this live stream. I'll be going out. We're going out to lunch. And then we'll go to maybe the beach too, because the beach is still good beach weather. So I want to get some beach days in. And that's me, man. So I
can't wait till my boy's old enough to just do stuff like that. Like, hey man, you want to go? Let's go do this or let's go do that, and it just tag along. That's so cool.
Depends though, man, because he gets in his own world too. Like my son is heavily introverted too, man. Like he's like me. Yeah. It's like he just loves.
Wait, you introverted? Nah.
I mean, yeah, believe it or not, the extroverted features that I show, that was a learning process, dude.
Well, you've grown comfortable with the audience and cameras, yeah, I guess.
Dude, look at my first video on YouTube. I was scared shitless of the camera. I was like, oh my God, this thing's going to eat me up? This is going to gobble me up.
Why'd you do it? Why'd you do it if it made you feel so uncomfortable?
Because I wanted to tell, deep down, I wanted to tell people this mouse that people were raving about was crap. And the Logitech mouse was better. And a lot of people agreed. I was like, yes, I feel vindicated. I saved some people from buying this garbage Razer mouse at the time. I mean, Razer have come a long way since then. They're making some really good mice right now. The Viper Mini is one of my favorites. But, I mean, I bought that for my son. But, I was like, man, people got to know that the Logitech G3 is a baller mouse. And, and so from there, people were like, man, this is awesome. And I was like, sweet, let's make some more content. And
so it started with peripherals, huh?
It did, but then people, I don't know, I got a question about overclocking. I built a computer. That's right. I was like, I'm building my new PC. Like, here it is. And it was all cookie cutter stuff. And then people were like, how do you overclock it? So just got into overclocking. And
that's how mine started. It's the same way. I built a PC because I was just doing generic science stuff just because I liked it. It was just something to pass the time. Because again, I didn't party or anything like that in college. So I had a bunch of free time over the summer, and I was just like, yeah, I'll start a YouTube channel just for the lulz. And I built a PC, and people were like, wow, hey, that was a really cool build. And I got like 10 times the number of views I usually got. So I was like, all right, let's just follow the numbers here. Built a few more times, and now suddenly I'm a tech channel. So
yeah, that's it. Like now you're the authority on tech, dude. You know everything about tech after building one PC.
Oh boy, yeah, that's it. Everyone, I mean, golly, they put so much faith and trust in me. I was learning so much along the way.
But you know the funny thing is though, like my funnest time in YouTube was when I was moving from Japan to Australia. I had no idea what was going to happen. I was making little to no money, but I was just having so much fun, man. They were like the funnest days of YouTube for me. Is when I had no NFI what was going to happen. It was just like nothing but pure passion, right? And then like you get seasoned by the world, right? It throws a bit of salt, bit of cherry and bit of chili sauce on you, and then all of a sudden you're a seasoned YouTuber. And it's like, but those moments are captured, the real raw. I saw you too, I was watching you coming up, man.
Oh boy.
It's just that
cringe stuff.
Yeah, but it's just pure passion, man. Like it's just pure passion, and that's the best times at YouTube.
When you watch your old videos, like the oldest ones, like what drives you the most insane about watching yourself back then? Like what like it could be content related, like video style. What about it?
Just how awkward I was, like how goofy I was, like in terms of just man, people just want to see a clean frame. A clean shot, and I'd have all these boxes of like transformers, and I was like, that was pretty bad. Like in hindsight, like
mine was my pace, dude. I spoke so slow back then.
That's a good dude. That's a good thing. Like
I spoke so slow. I mean, like I just can't fathom speaking that slow now. I don't know if it just came with the comfort of like just being in front of a camera, but I can't talk this slow normally, like that hurts.
But some YouTubers do it, like they talk extremely slow.
Yeah, and they do it well. I mean, it's them. It's a trait, but I just can't. I'm so like I got to do this, got to do that. Like my mind's just racing. Like when I watch myself speak that slow, I just want to like clock myself. Like, hey, speed up. Like come on. I don't know. It's just a person.
So we got to ask, do you miss Kev? Yeah, I miss him a lot, man. He was a really cool guy. So rest in peace, Kev. Yeah, that was
Tech Showdown, yeah.
yeah, he's a really cool dude,
I
man.
I did meet him one time. I didn't talk too much with him, but yeah, he was
Yeah.
cool.
So, is the Stinger Brembo any good and worth considering before Kia discontinues Stinger? Stinger's awesome, man. Like, I loved it. I love my Stinger. It was just the perfect combination of just, like, it was actually really fuel efficient too, believe it or not. But it was a perfect combination of just looks, comfort inside, space to chuck used PCs in. It was just like the ultimate baller car for doing what I did, man. I absolutely loved it. So, drives me most insane about tech and auditing tech YouTube. I mean, yeah. I mean, YouTube itself, the biggest thing that I find annoying is editing videos. Because it's like, you've already done all the work, and then you've got to do the work again.
Get yourself an editor, man. I tell you, that's like the best investment I've made so far. Get someone you trust.
Okay,
and
if you don't mind me asking, how much do you pay your editor? How much does it cost? How much does it send out of your budget? Like, you don't mind me asking.
It's like, I don't want to disclose the exact number for his sake, but it's I will say it's a pretty, like, I pay him a flat fee or flat check every month, regardless of how much or how little he does.
Yeah.
And I use that as motivation for myself to pump out a lot of videos, because that's like, that way I'm not paying him just to edit 2 videos a month or whatever, the same amount he would if he was editing 10. But he makes, I would say every month, it's definitely over. I don't know. I have to do the math. I think it's over minimum. I think it's over full-time minimum wage. I'm pretty sure. I'd have to do the math. I think it's over full-time minimum wage, even though he does it part-time.
Yeah.
Monthly.
That's good. That's good. Okay, that's good.
So
yeah.
he, and he has this normal job on top of that. So he's combined, he's doing pretty well. I mean, at his age, he's doing pretty well for himself.
So in Australia, dude, you want a video editor that's reliable, full time. You'd be looking at like over 100K Aussie. Like, it's huge, man. Like, I cannot like, to get any decent talent in Australia, man, it costs a lot. Like, so like, that's what I mean. In the US, you're lucky in that sense that you can employ people. In Australia, the minimum wage is insane. Like, the minimum wage is really high in Australia.
What is it?
It's like $20-something, $23 an hour now, I think. They upped
in
it.
Aussie dollars, right?
Yeah. And dude, at minimum wage though, you're not getting a video editor in Australia. Like, so you've got at least double that, right? At least.
That's like 15, 16 bucks.
You're looking at $50 an hour in Australia for a video editor, right? Like, it's expensive, man. I couldn't afford it. So like in Australia, having a full-time video editor would be out of the question.
Well, the thing is, like, you don't need a full-time one. I mean, unless you're doing a video a day, you like a good video editor for videos like ours, they can not, like, Jeremy's knocking out videos of mine, and they're like 20, 30-minute videos. He's knocking them out now after 3-4 months of doing this. Mind you, he literally started editing when he started working for me. Like, he had never touched Premiere
So the
before.
learning curve was pretty easy for him?
I gave him, so I was paying him the full rate those first 2 months he was learning. And I said, look, I'll pay you to learn, but you better learn quick. Because after 2 months, if you haven't picked it up enough to where you've alleviated 80% of the work for me on the editing side, because I still have to go through after he edits and make a couple of changes. But I told him, I said, if you pick it up in 2 months, then I'll keep you at this rate going forward. And to his credit, he learned a ton. He learned way faster than I did, and he can edit a 20-minute video now in 2 to 3 hours.
That's quick.
And that's like adjustment layers, edit everything, B-roll, all of it, audio.
That's pretty gun, man. That's good.
Yeah, if he edits 3 videos a week, which I publish about 2 videos a week. So if I can get him 3 videos a week, I can get ahead of schedule. And he'll work maybe 8 to 10 hours a week. Making, again, around a full-time minimum wage check for only doing 10 hours of work. 10 to, I'd say 10 to 15. Depends on how intense. It might be a really difficult video every now and then. I don't want to take away from what he does, but you don't need a full-time guy is what I'm trying to say. You could get a part-time guy. Maybe he does it on a video by video basis.
I was just going to say, like, in Star Wars, right, they were cloning people. Can we just like use that, clone Jeremy? Can we just clone him and get him over?
I've said that to Lisa. I'm like, can I just clone myself? She's like, dear God, no, please. I can only handle one.
Well, so you can only handle one, Greg. I was like, that was kind of this video
man.
editor. No, because this is, I'm sure a lot of YouTubers would be looking for a guy like Jeremy. Like, I'm looking for Jeremy. Where are you at? Like, come to Japan, bro. Work for you.
Well, you know what? I might
Let's
be.
clone him.
He's been looking at trying to get another gig going. I think he's comfortable enough working with the two jobs he's got now, mine and the normal one he has at the Navy base. He might actually, if you want to give him a shot, he might take you up too on that if you want.
But does he? But do you give him the work locally? Like,
no. It's all over. I'd use Dropbox. Actually.
Oh, wow.
I literally
Okay.
just dump all my footage in Dropbox. You can even make it more or less, I guess, less intensive on his part, and just give him like proxies to work with.
Okay.
Like there's like proxy files that you can record on like the Sony cameras, and he'll work with like the 480p footage or whatever, and then send it back, and then you open it up Premiere, and the clip names are the same, so Premiere pulls in the full high res clips.
Oh, okay.
There's ways to do that, but I just drop him the whole freaking enchilada, and he edits everything. All he does is send me
And he puts the cheese on
project
top,
file.
cuts it up, makes it a dish for
Oh
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do 10% of the editing work now, and that's just kind of like the oversight, making tiny corrections if I need them. But he's gotten pretty good to the point where I'm pretty hands off now. It's impressive how quickly he's learned.
Damn. Okay, there you go, guys. Greg has it easy. That's like Greg's life is amazing.
Well, I
In
know
a
you said
nutshell.
that editing sucks. I mean, it does. Like, it's one of those things that that part gets old very quickly. Videos day to day can change, the topics change, but editing is very mundane for some people like ourselves who are used to kind of.
Okay, last question. This will be the final question about Greg's editing then. Last question. So when I'm doing dedicated videos, like when I'm doing like live streams, I'll be good. Like I won't fumble for some reason. I'll always be like on point. But when I'm doing videos, I always do like cuts and stumble and stutter.
Yeah.
Do you do that? And he's editing?
Oh yeah. Oh he'll chop it all up. Yeah. So like,
Oh, wow.
what I like to do. I'm gonna mute myself one sec. Sorry. Okay. So like, what I'll do is, if I say, especially if it's like a super long paragraph or something, I'm just rambling on. If I mess up anywhere through that sentence, I'll repeat that whole sentence, because that sentence has a pause in it, right? And you can splice those pauses together and then put B-roll over it so you can't even tell it's been spliced. And then it's seamless. It looks like it was one continuous take.
That's what we all do. That's what we all do.
Yeah. But like that, I do that a lot. And he, maybe not so much with fix or flop, but especially scripted videos, like where I actually type a script out if it's a technical video or something. It's pretty easy to stumble when you're reading a very small teleprompter. So I've had to do that quite a bit, and he's smooth sailing on that stuff.
There you go. Thanks for answering those questions, guys. So we'll be I'm getting really hungry. So unless someone has a
What
real
time is it
pressing-
over there? It's like
It's 11:30 a.m. So
11:30.
I was like, I'm promising my audience I do 2 live streams a month now, because they love chatting, man. They love hanging out. Like sometimes there's some real pressing question. Like someone asked about Jay's 2 cents. Like like someone asked about like Jay made a video in the comments, like latest motherboard video. I don't know if someone wants to give us the cut.
Oh,
down.
there was something about ASUS. There was like I forget if it was a capacitor or something on a particular ASUS board that was soldered backwards or something, and it was actual defect from the manufacturer that they.
Did he buy it, or was it a sample?
No. This was an actual thing that was shipped out. Like there were like apparently up to 10,000 units that were shipped out with this defect, and like boards were blowing up, I guess, or something. But it was a pretty serious problem that apparently ASUS is kind of downplaying. I'm not sure. Jay's digging into it.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's that. There was other tech drama with Linus.
The Linus versus the GN thing or whatever.
GN,
So what was that? I watched GN's side on his hardware news, and like I agree with most of what he's saying, man. Like he's making sense. Like you've got an audience that's all over the world, dude, and in different cultures, people will definitely take on warranty as either a strict thing, or they might be as loose as Linus is about it. And you've got to understand, though, at the end of the day, you always got to side the more serious side, because people are spending their money. Like, so I completely agree with GN's
It's an
stance on that.
expensive backpack, too. I mean, you're asking people to pay a lot of money for a backpack that is, it does what a backpack does. Regardless of how you make it or where it's made, it's a backpack, and you're competing with a wide range of price points. So to kind of, I don't know, Yeah, it definitely could have been handled a lot better.
I watched Jan's video. My was like, yeah, he meant Jan's making sense. Even Luke was apparently speaking out against Linus on the live stream about it. It's like, I don't like to make fun of people if they're spending money. Like, it's one thing to sort of rub salt in the wounds if someone's attacking you and you've got one up on them and you're having a bit of back and forth between two people. But when someone's like just a completely innocent customer and they're buying a $250 backpack, I think it's warranted to have a pretty, good understanding of what is my warranty with this backpack. I mean, if I spend $250 on a backpack, which I wouldn't pay that for any backpack, by the way.
Yeah, same.
$50 would be like my max.
That's exactly how much I spent.
I was looking for a backpack on Amazon, a Champion one. It was like ticking all the boxes for when I go parts hunting in Tokyo. Only $38 or something, $35. I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Get yourself a Swiss made, man. Swiss mades, they last a long. I still got the same Swiss made I had in college. It's still working today.
But if I buy that backpack, I want some kind of a warranty with it, right? I don't want to get it and say after 6 months the thing just it's faulty, right? There's poor stitching. It gave way while I was out on the road. That's all people want protection against, man. So especially they want to use this backpack, I'm guessing, for a good 5 years, maybe at least. So that's sort of like. You can say, oh, that's it. We trust me, bro. We've got your back. Dude, no, you shouldn't trust anyone when it hands to giving you money over the internet. Period.
Well, I do. I think that the even bigger issue I had with it was it did come across as hypocritical. I mean, because they've been critical of companies that have very garbage warranties or maybe no warranties at all. And we've always told our viewers, look, a good judge of character from a company about how they look at their own products is to look at the warranty. If the warranty is 1 year, there's not a lot of hope and faith in that. And that's coming from the people that actually make the product, right? If the warranty's 10 years, that's a pretty solid, chunk of time there. That's peace of mind. They got to be pretty confident in the way that it was assembled and just the QC overall. So to not offer one and then to act like that's that's okay. I mean, if you don't want to offer one, fine, but then don't expect to sell many at $250. I mean, geez, if you bought a $50 backpack and it lasted you 5 years, that $250 backpack in my eyes better last 25 years because why else would I pay that much? You know what I mean? Like, unless it has like a built-in freaking jetpack or something that I'm missing.
Yeah, I just think, like, for me, like, it's one of those things where I'm telling everyone the thing that can come out of this, because it's always like, I like to give my audience, like, what comes out of it. Whenever you're spending money on the internet, always be skeptical. Always side on the side of caution. Always. Doesn't matter if this person's been making content for 10 years. If I'm selling you something on the internet, always be skeptical about it. Like, if I say, for instance, today's video sponsors, SCD Keys, Corsair Elgato Wave 3. Be skeptical about these products. Do your research before you buy them. Always do your own research and find out, hey, but I've been selling these products, both these products, they've been sponsors. I know they're good products. I've been doing it for years that people in the comments will say, yeah, they're both fine sponsors from experience. Corsair will give you a warranty on the microphone. SCD Keys guarantee their keys. So you've got those two guarantees there. But if we go back to this relates back to this StarForge Systems. I'm going to sort of segue this in with this because people are saying, oh man, like there was the argument in my comment section about the COO. He's from the good part of Artesian, man. He was from the east side of Artesian. And actually, I'll give you guys a little spoiler alert. They did email me back again, finally. And apparently they can't talk about any of it because there's still legal battle going on. So there's something there. There's still legal involvement between some people in StarForge Systems and that Artesian builds thing. But people are like, oh, you've got to give them the benefit of the doubt. No, you don't. If you're a customer, you don't give these people the benefit of the doubt. You base them on any simple logic that's going to be, well, is this a company that I'm going to spend my money on, and what happens if I lose? Apply that same logic to any other thing you buy in real world. If you go to a used car salesman that's selling a car that looks rusty and he's telling you this car looks amazing, are you going to give him the benefit of the doubt? No, you're just going to be like, no, this car looks shit. I'm on my way. I'm moving. I'm on to the next dealer to go find a better deal. So that's what it relates down to. It's your money. If you're the person spending the money, always side on the side of caution. Now back to this Starforge Systems thing. Always say, okay, give these guys, don't give them the benefit of the doubt. Say, no, there's people on this board that were involved with this company that went bankrupt, took people's money, until I find out more about this situation from the people themselves, or until this company's earned a good reputation, I'm not going to give them my money for a PC. So I'm siding on the side of caution. It's not like, and me doing that video on Starforge Systems, it's not my onus to find out what the ex-COO did in that company or not. If he's not saying what he did, then I'm going to side on the side of skepticism. I'm going to say, okay, what was he doing in that company? Was it something dodgy? I'm going to side on that caution because people got scammed. And that's why. Yeah. So, yeah, always side on the side of caution when it comes to handing your money on the internet. And that's just
kind of that's the same way I look at when I review like PC ads and stuff and judges, I judge the price and the value there, and does this make sense at this price point, etc. A lot of times you'll see when systems are very overpriced, they will leave out key details about specifications. So, for example, like motherboard, they'll say B550, but they won't actually specify what kind of B550 board it is. There's a lot of cheap B550 boards out there. There's a lot of expensive B550 boards out there. So which is it? The fact that they're not clarifying in the ad tells me that it's probably a cheap B550 board, because if it was a good board, they would clarify and they would be sure to let us know what it was. So I never price in the more expensive product there. I try not to give them the benefit of the doubt, because they're not, it's hard to look at that and say that wasn't intentional, unless they just don't know what they're selling. But yeah, I know I do the same with to kind of loop that into computer stuff on the resale side. I do the same thing. Is if it's vague, it's probably intentionally vague, and it's best to err on the side of caution, because
always, especially in going into 2022, man, the amount of scams is on the rise. Seriously side on the side of caution, man, because I don't know. Anyway, it's just like again, the GN, I sort of side with GN on that argument of Linus versus GN. I think GN hit everything on the head there, hit the nail on the head. So, that's sort of where do you stand on that side?
No, same thing. Yeah, I think the only thing I probably didn't or wouldn't have done if I was Steve, and this is just a personal preference, is I feel like it was a little I don't want to say odd, but the way that he was kind of using his own warranty is like, hey, look, this is what we do. Our warranty is great. Linus doesn't even have one. Like, I felt like that was a little distasteful. I wouldn't have done that because it does come across a little. Yeah. It's like I don't know if grandstanding is the right word, but like it just doesn't really look the most professional. Personally,
just always keep it
he
factual.
Could do whatever he wants. Yeah. But I would have just said, it's okay to reference your own warranty, but I think especially the thumbnail of that first video, GN's warranty, great, 10 years. Linus's warranty doesn't exist. I know you gotta get clicked, but
that's YouTube, I guess. I don't know, man. That's it. I mean, like, can you? Yeah, that's what I mean. Where does it draw the line between YouTube and thumbnails and clickbait?
I mean, everyone can handle it. That's
I'm guilty, and that's the thing, though. I'm guilty of that.
I think we all are.
We're all guilty of trying to up the title, trying to get the title, trying up the clicks. So I can't really. I mean, the actual, hey guys, pointing towards their own product, and while they're bashing someone else's product, you're right. That's a good point to raise as well. So, I mean, at the end of the day, though, like, hopefully the biggest thing is Linus now he's giving a warranty on it, right? So that's the biggest thing to come out on it. The backpacks have warranty now, and like they've got an official warranty now, and that's a good thing. That's what constructive criticism does. It forces your competition to sort of, or in this case, forces people selling stuff to up their game a bit. So that's a good thing. So there was a positive that came out of it. So that's my stance on that one. But yeah, man, we've talked about almost everything today on this podcast. Like, wow. You've
I like it when we don't really have like an agenda. It's just kind of just flows. I mean, I know we were supposed to talk about X mining GPUs and stuff, and we did, but it can flow anywhere else.
We went through the party bus, we went through the fair, we went through the meeting of life. We even hit on the meeting of life. This one's been a big one for you guys. If you've definitely enjoyed this live stream, then hit that thumbs up button, and also drop a comment down below. And We're starting to get some. You got to wind down live stream when there's just troll comments coming in, like Greg, where do babies come from? I mean, you just got to start winding down your live stream when that happens. But all in all, I do look forward to the days where perhaps we could travel more freely and events are all back on in full force, and then Greg and I would be collabing and doing something wicked for the viewers. I really, 2019 was like one of the best years for YouTube. Like I really enjoyed that. It was just like complete freedom and content was banging.
Yeah, it was like on an upward trend, and then all of a sudden all that hit, and now it's I don't know. It kind of killed the momentum a tad, and hopefully we can get that back.
Is the 6650 XT worth it? Nope. 6600. Oh, 6650 XT is okay. It's in that price bracket. It's not too overpriced. Like
what's it selling for now?
The RX 6650 XT. We'll check on Amazon because you get the I pulled it up before. You've got the
6600s are really good value in the 200s now.
Yeah, dude, it's like $250. RX 6600 is really good value. It's my go-to card like at the moment. 6600 XT is 300, and then the 50 XT, which is again a degree faster, is 340. So, I mean, if you're going with a whole system, try and get a little bit cheaper. But if you're going with a whole system, it might extract that extra out. But RX 6600, it's in like all new GPUs right now. It's one of the deals to get. So people are saying it was 240 as well. That's getting really cheap. So yeah, there you go. Awesome, guys. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this live stream. I certainly enjoyed catching up with Greg. We talk actually not enough. We got to talk more. But
yeah, and we got to collab in person, man. We just need to bite the bullet and just like meet somewhere. Yeah.
It was just one of these. It was just one of these Twitter interactions, and I was ready to do a live stream. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Really, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for your questions. And as always, thanks for watching our channels. Can't thank that enough. We love doing what we do, and you guys, it wouldn't be possible without you. So thank you guys so much. And Greg, any parting words? Oh, didn't we get an Australian accent from you?
No, please, God, no, please, no. No, I can't, dude. This is so bad.
Hey, Greg, dude, I've been it just comes naturally to me, dude. Like, Greg's just been talking like he doesn't even know that I can speak American. So like he's been on the back burner, right? Like a little bit different.
Your American sounds so northern to me. It sounds like Minnesotan or something.
This guy didn't know that I got a Trump card back up in my sleeve, and I can kind of bring it out anytime I want. And Greg's got it caught off guard. And here's don't get me wrong, he can't really speak Japanese, but he can kind of do an Aussie accent pretty well. So, Greg, hit the viewers right there. Come on. Hit him in the sweetie teety. Come on,
I
Greg.
can't. I don't even know what to say.
Come on. Just for me, bro. Just for me. Just hit him in the sweetie teety. Come on.
All right, I'm going to read Richard Tata's comment there. Put a shrimp on the barbie. Is that right? And that was more English.
You gotta go like you gotta go on some little tangent like dude, like
Rocky, mate. I can say it like that.
Like tell me about the RX 6600.
No, I am not telling you about that in an Aussie accent. No way.
Come on, Greg, hit the viewers on the sweetie teety.
I hate to disappoint, but I will not bomb your stream with that awful rendition. There's no way. There's no way.
Oh man, anyway.
I'm sparing everyone involved. Welcome. You're welcome.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in for all the lulls, all the serious talk. We're going, man. The whole stream's a roller coaster ride in itself, much representative of the economy. So there you go. We might as well keep it. Hey, we keep it real. The viewers cannot argue about us not keeping it real. So there you go. All right, guys. Love each and every one of you. We'll catch you in another tech video very soon. And with that aside, peace out for now. Greg, you take it away. Peace out for now. Bye.
Peace out for now. Bye.